Welcome, Brooklyn Squad. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Today is a special day. I have promoted this for weeks now. Like I said, this is not my story. If I was coming up here just to put out missing cases like I always do, I wouldn't mind if I had just one person, two people, or just me up here. But when I have 6 strong, amazing parents coming up here, I expect for people to support them because this can happen to any one of us. It's not easy for parents to come and relive this tragic all over and all over and all over again. The fact that they have to promote this on social media, go to the media, go to the police, the fact that the police are not helping, the fact that they have to push this on social media, and now they are here. So I welcome you 6 different stories with 6 amazing parents who will be joining me. But before we start, I put together something special for them, and I just wanted to show them. Now, some of the families couldn't make it here, but they're still in this video that I put together. And also, down below in the description is each family member's Facebook page. If they have a GoFundMe for their children, if they have a petition, anything they have me, Facebook group is all in the description. So please hit that link and go support them. Watch this video and then we should continue.
If there's anything that anybody has, we've got to get that information out. We just want justice if something was done.
There's begging for answers. That grieving Kentucky family asking for your help in the death investigation of their loved one, 33-year-old Brittany Sands. Her body was found in Westchester on Sunday. Brenda Ordonez sat down with her brothers in an interview you will only see right here on Fox 19 Now.
Now, this is the area where Brittany Sands' body was found. I did speak to an employee at a nearby business who tells me her grandson was playing football in this field right here when that ball landed just down this hill here. When he went to go retrieve that ball, that's when he spotted Brittany's body just a couple feet away in that area right there. She was lying face down. Now, this is just a couple feet away from the parking lot here at this business. Now, again, this was 4 days ago, but the family is seeking answers and they demand justice.
I'm thinking of Brittany as the mother, as the sister, all the good times that we had, playing together as little kids, riding bikes together, that's what's sticking with me right now.
Brandon McMurray choosing to remember his younger sister and the mother of his 4 nieces and nephews, Brittany Sands, as a light in this world.
She had a huge heart. She always cared about everybody else before herself. She was a great sister, an amazing mother.
Sands was found dead in a tree line near several businesses on Schumacher Park Drive in Westchester on Sunday.
I don't know what she was doing so far up in Ohio. It was very confusing.
McMurray says their family primarily resides in Grant County, Kentucky. He says Sands typically stayed in that area, but was no stranger to downtown Cincinnati.
I don't know why she was all the way out in Westchester. I mean, there's so many questions we have, so many answers that we're looking for.
He says some of those questions stem from the family not having much contact with Sands prior to her death. McMurray says his sister fell on hard times, which caused her to distance herself.
It's been several months now. It's just tough. I mean, to go that long without seeing your sister and knowing that you're not going to get to see her again.
Filled with regret for lost time, McMurray and Sands' brothers are determined to seek justice for their sister.
She had nothing on her, and That's no way for anybody, let alone my sister.
Westchester police say the cause of death remains under investigation. They say the location where she was found is unusual, sparking suspicion and a plea for information.
It's going to be difficult whichever way we look at it. I mean, once we get the answers, it's going to be tough, but it will feel a little bit better once we know the real meaning and reason behind everything.
Now, a GoFundMe has been set up for Brittany's funeral expenses. Again, if you have any information on Brittany Sands or her most recent whereabouts, you are urged to contact the Westchester Police Department. We're going to have those links, those phone numbers available on our website. For now in Westchester, I'm Brenda Ordonez, Fox 19.
Years later, her mother still works for justice. Here's Vincent Hill with a mother's journey, one of Oklahoma's cold case files.
It's a journey that started 16 years ago for Maggie Zingman, traveling the country spreading the word about her daughter Brittany Phillips' murder. But before we experience the journey with Maggie, let's get to know Brittany. Maggie says she had her hands full when she had her second child, Brittany. So much so that she gave her this nickname.
Accident, because by the time she was 3, I think she had been to the emergency room 3 times.
As Brittany got older, Maggie says she worried for a different reason.
She was a typical teenager, running around with her friends, getting into trouble sometimes.
Brittany was a great student. She graduated a year early and headed off to college in Florida, but quickly became homesick.
She decided at the end of the second semester to move back to Tulsa.
Brittany enrolled at Tulsa Community College and got her own apartment in a location they thought would be safe.
Where we had never heard about anything bad happening.
But something really bad did happen. It was September of 2004.
Tuesday the 28th, I tried calling her, didn't get an answer. Tried calling her the 29th, didn't get an answer.
Maggie became worried and left a desperate message.
Brittany, please call me. I know you're okay, but you know how I worry. Please just call me.
A few hours later, a knock on the door woke Maggie.
It was like something out of a movie. There was thundering and lightning and wind.
But it wasn't a movie.
Are you Maggie Zingman? I said, yeah. He said, you need to call Tulsa Police. Your daughter's been murdered.
Tulsa County Sheriff Vic Regalado was a homicide detective with Tulsa Police at the time. Regalado says Brittany's killer had likely stalked her before.
Whoever murdered her that night more than likely had seen her before and knew that she lived in that apartment.
Regalado had a long list of suspects.
We're talking individuals that had backgrounds that would lead you to believe they were potentially able and willing to do a crime such as that. 276
to be exact, that either lived in the apartment complex or close by.
I'm talking, theft of women's underwear. I'm talking of peeping toms. I'm talking of rapes.
Although he no longer investigates the case, Regalado says it's just a matter of time until Brittany's killer is brought to justice.
That individual, unless they're dead, right, is still out there, and we have their DNA.
For Maggie, her journey continues as her pain is still very real.
I see her face every day, so, I think I cry every day, but I also smile because, I'm always going to be able to see that face.
If you have any information about the September 27, 2004 murder of Brittany Phillips, contact the Tulsa Police Department Homicide Unit at 918-596-9135. Vincent Hill, 2 News, Oklahoma.
Hello, my name is Denise McClendon. My daughter is Leah Wilson. On July 19th of 2020, my daughter was found hung in Houston. I was not informed until 4 days later, July 23rd. How I was informed is I woke up to a text message that read, "They told me your daughter has died." That text message was from my daughter's ex-girlfriend, who knew my daughter passed on the 19th, who had my telephone number. My husband called the police. The police said they confirmed it. They were looking at a file that my daughter hung herself with a sheet, and she left no note. That's all the information they gave me. Then after that, the coroner's office called and stated that my daughter came out of our apartment with a backpack and some Nike slide-on shoes without socks on. She proceeded to walk upstairs barefooted, and she hung herself with her fitted bed sheet, and she left no note. My daughter's apartment door was locked. Even though she walked upstairs barefooted, there was no dirt on her feet. The sheet was cut that she used as ligature. That was cut to 21 inches.
My name is Jennifer Backstrom. In June 2020, I started calling out the Potsdam Police, St. Lawrence County Sheriffs, St. Lawrence County District Attorney, and many others in positions of power and authority in Potsdam, New York, and throughout St. Lawrence County because of their racism, their crimes, corruption, and their cover-ups. I was calling them out on a case of a little boy named Garrett Phillips, who was unalived in Potsdam, New York on October 24th, 2011. He was strangled to death in his home. Immediately, they went after Garrett's mom's ex-boyfriend, Nick Hillary, a black man who was not born and raised in Potsdam, New York. He was Jamaican and attended college in St. Lawrence University, and then became a coach at Clarkson University in Potsdam, New York. Anyways, they framed him instead of even going after or investigating their friend, Deputy Sheriff John Jones, who was also Garrett's mom's ex-boyfriend. So yes, I was calling all these people out because of their racism, crimes, corruptions, and cover-ups. And the fact that Garrett has no justice because of all of that by them. My son, Teron Evans Jr., moved to Potsdam, New York in June 2020. From the time he got there, he protested with me in Potsdam and all throughout St. Lawrence County. In June 2020, there was a cross burning in Lisbon, New York, still St. Lawrence County. There was a noose left in the yard of a black family. Not long after that, a young black woman named Trayana Somerville was unalived, supposedly in her home by her own mother. In August 2020, I had a press conference with another group requesting that the St. Lawrence County District Attorney refer Garrett Phillips' case to the New York State Attorney General to be investigated. In October 2020, I joined the Potsdam Police Reform Committee. And in December 2020, myself and the only other black person on the committee resigned from the Potsdam Police Reform Committee. On January 7, 2021, I received an email from a woman on the Potsdam Police Reform Committee. But the email was to everybody else on the Potsdam Police Reform Committee also. And the person who made that email, was requesting that I lead the Potsdam Police Reform Committee. Anything less than that, she was going to resign to. I responded to that email that same day, January 7, 2021. That morning, calling out Potsdam Police Chief Mark Murray in regards to his racism and other bullshit. On the morning of January 8th, 2021, around 9 a.m., St. Lawrence County Sheriff O'Connell came to my house telling me that my son, Teron Evans Jr., unalived himself in his on and off girlfriend's home. This woman's name is Crystal Kipp. I later found out that she is a police informant, her and her adult son that lived with her. They claim that Teron took 2 bottles of Wellbutrin pills. That he ate 2 whole bottles of Wellbutrin pills. In his autopsy, there were no pills found in his stomach, no pill residue in or around his mouth, and no signs of vomiting. There were 5 responding officers to the scene, 2 Potsdam police officers and 3 St. Lawrence County sheriffs. One of them sheriffs being Deputy Sheriff John Jones, who I had already been calling out in regards to Garrett Phillips' unaliving. The 2 Potsdam police officers were there for almost an hour at the scene. The body cam video that I received from the scene from Potsdam police officer Jared Lavoie was redacted down to 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Same address as the home that Tehran's life was taken in, 236. Potsdam police officer Jared Lavoie resigned after I called internal affairs. The St. Lawrence County Chief ADA resigned on the same day that Tehran's life was taken. The lead St. Lawrence County Sheriff in Tehran's case, Thomas Karinji, he retired just days after one of his sheriffs responded to an email by the New York State Attorney General's office in regards to my son, Tehran Evans Jr.'s death. And now the Potsdam Police Chief, Mark Murray, has resigned. Retired. I know my son did not unalive himself in the home of 2 police informants. Tehran was targeted by law enforcement because law enforcement is involved in Garrett's unaliving and the cover-up of it. Because they don't want to be called out on their racism or be held accountable for it or the way they treat Black people or anybody else at that matter. Tehran was killed to silence me. To see how bad their racism, crimes, and cover-ups are there in Potsdam, New York, and throughout St. Lawrence County with the people in positions of power, go watch the HBO documentary called Who Killed Garrett Phillips. It's a 2-part documentary, and you can watch it on YouTube. Tehran's death, my son Tehran's death, was not investigated. It was labeled a suicide. And that's it, closed. I need my son's case reopened and totally investigated. Crystal Kipp, her son Brian Gates, Potsdam Police Chief Mark Murray, St. Lawrence County Sheriff John Jones, Potsdam Police Chief Michael Ames, who befriended me in 2020, literally came to my house many times and sat down in my yard and talked to me and everything. I mean, we were just so cool in 2020. He needs to be investigated too, because once my son was killed, that man said not a motherfucking word to me, excuse my mouth, but nothing. Until I messaged him and said, did you hear about my son? And he said, oh yeah, so sad. Sorry. These people came together and planned the unaliving of my son, Tehran. And now we're all involved in the cover-up of his death. So now we have the cover-up of Tehran Evans Jr.'s death and the cover-up of Garrett Phillips' death, who Tehran's mom was trying to uncover before Tehran's death in the home of 2 police informants in Potsdam, New York. Go to my link tree. All the information on Tehran's case is there. I think I forgot to mention that last year in March, I finally received some information from the St. Lawrence County Sheriffs through FOIL request, many that have been denied. I got a USB with photos and interviews. And on that USB, the very first file is dated January 7th, 2021, 10:41 p.m. That's 8+ hours before Crystal even called 911 or Tehran's death. They never had Tehran in their custody, so they never should have had a file open. Again, they're part of whatever happened to my son and covering up the truth. Go to my link tree for all the information and all the ways that you can help get justice for Tehran. Tehran Evans Jr.'s death and Garrett Phillips' death. No justice, no peace.
Come as a St. Louis area family hopes to find their family member alive. He disappeared in that same region almost 2 months ago. Police say none of the bodies are that of Timmy Dees. Throughout the day, police, family, and friends have been searching Timmy's last known location, Fredericktown. It's about 90 miles south of the city. Only News 4's Jenna Ray takes us there tonight.
He was very sweet and funny, and he liked to joke around and dance, and he loved music. And he had a wonderful smile.
Timmy Dees' mom holds to memories of her son, who just turned 26 Sunday. His disappearance is so perplexing to his parents.
He would always call one of us, for sure. You know, nothing else, just say, hey, Dad, I'm all right.
He'd text me and say, I'm okay, Mom.
Barbara says Timmy was last at her home in Jefferson County on Friday, February 25th. She says Timmy's friend Caleb picked him up to go to Fredericktown for the weekend.
Caleb was a childhood friend. So for Timmy to come with Caleb to Fredericktown is not a surprise because Caleb lived here.
Sunday, February 27th is the last time Timmy was heard from. And investigators tell News 4 Timmy was seen on video at a Fredericktown gas station around 1:30 a.m. on the 28th.
He loved his job, Local 6. You know, he had checks at the Union Hall.
6 weeks later, his parents have so many questions.
Like he's vanished.
And they're not giving up on finding him.
I started coming down, we made flyers, and then I just would sit at the courthouse and hand out flyers.
Law enforcement officials believe Timothy Dees was last seen here near County Road 277. That's why volunteers are out here searching the field nearby. Law enforcement officials saying a 911 call was made from Timmy's phone on February 28th.
The direction's going to be this way.
Those volunteers searched for hours Tuesday. It's unclear who made the 911 call from Timmy's phone. As for the people he was with on February 28th,
I've gotten 10 different stories from him, so I don't know.
Madison and Jefferson County Sheriff's offices, along with Missouri Highway Patrol, are now assisting in the search for Timmy Dees. The families even hired a private investigator. The disappearance is even more emotional after suddenly losing their other son back in June.
We love our son and we just want to find him. There's no doubt he's probably not alive, but I just want to find him to put him with his brother where he'd want to be. Whoever did this to my son has taken everything.
In Fredericktown, Jenna Ray, News 4.
News 4 has reached out to Timmy's friend Caleb. Parents and investigators both say he was with Timmy the night he disappeared. He hasn't gotten back to us yet, but if you have seen Timmy or have any information, call police.
My daughter has been missing for almost 7 years, and I need someone to come forward with information.
That was Elvia Crump, who was very emotional as she asked the public for help in locating her daughter during a press conference outside the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office on Monday morning. Her daughter, Shanice Harris, was last seen around 8:20 p.m. on May 29, 2017. Her abandoned car was discovered on South Woods Drive in Rock Hill. She was wearing a black and gray hooded sweatshirt with 4 pockets, black sweatpants, and black Nike Air Max sneakers. Crump goes on to say,
Put yourself in a parent's position who has to wake up every single day and not know where their child is, that she walked out and she just disappeared.
Harris's father, Thomas Crump, reiterated the appeal to the public.
Any way that you guys can help us bring her home, is greatly appreciated.
In a moving tribute to her sister, Tamika Harris sang a song.
Though I'm missing you, I'll find a way to pull through.
Anyone with information is asked to call the FBI at 212-384-1000. The FBI is offering a $10,000 reward for any information.
His whole life was special. He was a clown. He made anybody laugh. You can have the worst day in the world, and he was there with his smile and his joking, and he'd make you laugh. He had goals, he had ambitions. He was on the right track. Honor roll student, working, basketball, softball. Couldn't ask for a better child. My son Victor Felix was a sophomore at John Hancock College Prep when he was shot and murdered. He was walking to school and he was with two other boys, don't want to call them friends. They were just walking back and they got to a cross alley by 56th and Keeler, because that's where he was killed. And gentleman jumped out of a beige Buick, shot, like I said, shot 5 times, and 4 hit my son. State's attorney has done absolutely nothing for me. Now I would like a state's attorney who is going to help us, who is going to listen to us, and who's going to actually put these criminals behind bars and actually keep them there. Do not let them go. Do not give them a slap on the wrist or a low bond or an ankle monitor. Keep them where they belong, and that's behind bars.
I think that was the end, y'all. Whew, that was emotional. Hey, Brooklyn Squad. So first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone that's joining. Those videos that I put together was each and every case and family member that is here, but that's supposed to be here today. Barbara flew off.
Yeah, I just knew.
Hey,
there she is.
So I put that together as the intro, just to do something for the family, something special for y'all.
That's beautiful. It's hard.
Yeah.
But it's getting better.
But let's hope that other families can join us. But you two are here.
How are you?
How are you?
Man, I just want to cry looking at her because I know that feeling so well.
Well, and it's sad because in all those stories, there's a common theme, and we're from all parts across the U.S., and it's frustrating, and it's sad that, we have had to become warriors, when, and I'm spoiled because my first 10 years of our case, because this October 4th, we're going to hit 20, I had great detectives, great head of homicide. And so I got really spoiled. I was treated like I was part of the case. And now my story is like all of these where the police won't talk to me. The police won't allow any cold case investigations. We're trying to find ways to run to the state's attorneys to do a grand jury. It's just, and I can handle it. But as I'm a psychologist and been one trauma for 36 years. I can handle it, but I know it's devastating and killing so many of these families.
Oh my God. That is just trying to keep it together.
It's okay not to keep it together.
Yeah. Well, and I hurt myself recently and having some physical pain with all the rest of it. And I've noticed that I've been getting a little more emotional lately.
Oh, yeah. It's like sort of looking up and going, something else? I have to deal with something else?
Well, I had to go to the hospital. I ran into my washing machine and hurt my side.
Oh.
And I got my really good bruising. So when you got the other stuff and physical pain too, it's been a rough week.
It's like, what else is going to happen? Hey, get a good.
But you know what I do believe? I do believe that something good comes out of everything.
Oh, God, yes.
I mean, I don't know how I would get through this if it wasn't for knowing who God is.
Ooh.
I mean,
Say that
there's no
again.
way. I mean, nobody could convince me otherwise on that.
I know that's right.
So
Yeah, I want to start. I want to start off with one of y'all first telling y'all story, so people can get familiar with what happened. And how's the system treating you? Who wants to go first? We only have two of y'all here, Barbara and Miss Maggie.
Barbara's welcome to go first if she wants to.
Barbara, talk about Timmy D.
Okay.
Who first of all, introduce yourself. I know who you are.
I'm Barbara Hall, Timmy D's mother. And Timmy came up missing on February the 28th, and I knew he was missing. I knew something bad happened to him. I knew. I felt it. There wasn't anything in my being that didn't know something bad happened to him. And the thing was, when I went to the police, the detective where I live, he was good, but it was so far away that he handed it over. And where he handed it over was, I got nothing. I mean, they would not even look for Timmy for 6 weeks. It was just myself and other people, friends and family, that we could get to come out and even look for him, because I was supposed to believe that he just he's on the run because his friend said so. And as we know, that's not possible, because he made the phone call at 4:40 in the morning, and his debit card was used at this morning, and he was found 184 yards from where he made the 911 call. And I just don't understand why the police didn't look for him. They were there in 5 minutes, arrested somebody out in front of the house, and left.
Which year was this?
2022, February 28th,
That's what I
2020.
thought, but I just wasn't sure. Do you have other people helping you?
Yes, actually, a foundation. It's called True Crime Web Foundation. Took my son's case, and we know what happened. It's just now getting somebody to open the case back up and take it serious and look at it.
Are they trying to take it to a grand jury?
We're trying to take it to whoever will look at it, and that's not easy. I got a petition now, and it's just saying, hey, would you just look at what I have? Because they want to say everything I have is a lie. How do you know something's a lie if you won't look at it?
You won't look at it, right?
And that foundation, that's what that foundation does. It helps people that don't have money, family members that lost someone to homicides, or helps missing people with missing loved ones. It's a wonderful foundation. I feel like it was prayers answered.
Of course.
But it's just it's a long journey. Hi. It's a
Hey,
long
baby.
journey.
There's Mr. Niece, one of the cases that I'm working on.
I'm sorry I'm late. I thought it was 7 o'clock that we were supposed to do this at. So
I know I had it all messed
And
up.
I was on the earlier side thinking it
Yeah,
was
she was here early with me. It's
son
okay.
texted me and said, hey, she started it. Yeah, and I'm like, oh.
yeah, that's what she said. I was like, you started right? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. Barbara, can you explain to everybody what happened when Timmy was missing? Because he was with a childhood friend.
Yes, since second grade.
Right.
They
I
knew
always say, oh, you got to watch your friends these days.
I try to
watch who you hang with.
Sometimes when you have friends, when you're younger and you haven't seen them in a while, they're not the same people you thought they were.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because I mean, in the beginning, I really did not want to believe that Caleb would have anything to do with hurting little Timmy. He was little Timmy to us. So
And they grew up together. They were best friends.
Yeah, Caleb lived in our house for a short period of time.
So
I mean, Caleb was like my kid. So when this all started, I'm like, oh, Caleb, you know, wouldn't do anything to Timmy. Surely that's Caleb. But I didn't know that Caleb's life had changed so much. I didn't find that out until after Timmy was missing, that Caleb changed his life and wasn't making good choices. I have to forgive him. No matter what, I got to forgive him. But doesn't mean I don't want him held accountable for what he's done.
Can you tell everybody where they found Timmy's body?
Yeah, 184 yards from where he made the 911 call.
Can you tell them whose, because you know that's the part that gets me, whose house, what property?
It was on the judge's property. And the thing is that property was sold right after Timmy was found. They sold the property. So I've been on that property, and quite a few times. The women that bought that property are very good, nice women. And the thing that confuses me is they came to me and told me, since they've lived there, that whole street in front of that judge's property is nothing but drug houses. They call them trap houses. And it's kind of strange to me that if they're only been living there a short period of time and they've noticed it, why didn't the judge ever notice it living there all those years? I mean, I don't think the judge is guilty for killing my son or anything. I don't. But you knew the activity that's going up and down that street. Why is it going on? I mean, I went to the commissioners and I talked to the commissioners. I got on the agenda to talk to them about the drug problem there. And I said, I've got the addresses for you. I'll give you the addresses. And they said, oh, we already have them. It's a catch and release program. I'm like, well, that don't make sense to me. So you're just going to let this go on and have these people be preyed upon. And you just don't care because drugs might have been involved. And it's not just my son. There's multiple people that have been murdered in that small community. And all the people are intertwined. But by the way, I heard Bobby Boone's in jail. I just got that information. And Bobby Boone, this girl Bobby Boone's in all these cases. But I just found out yesterday that she's in jail. Let's see if she gets out again, because she keeps coming and going out of jail on probation, on... I mean, she's in a lot of cases, and she was there with Timmy at the gas station before he called 911.
And she has the audio of that also.
Yeah, I have that, and I have text messages between her and Caleb messaging each other on Messenger, but Caleb's trying to say he was in jail at that time. Well, you can't message somebody on Messenger in jail. But he's trying to make himself look like he's in jail so he's not involved. And he's messaging this Bobby Boone girl and saying that you want to go beat his head in. And saying that he went to jail sooner than he did. But I can prove he's lying.
When they found Timmy, did he have any organs?
No, Timmy was skeleton remains. There was nothing but bones. And his couple of his teeth are gone. But one of his teeth they put back, and they don't have it documented in the coroner's report. But I have pictures of on the scene where the top tooth is gone. And then the pictures that the coroner gave me, that tooth is back in his mouth and it's not even talked about. Now the bottom tooth's gone too, and he had a permanent retainer. That's gone. And when I questioned that, because that was on the coroner's report, when I questioned that, they said, oh, it just fell out after death. But I've done a lot of studies since then, and people don't lose their teeth. So then when I showed the picture to the prosecutor and I brought in the picture that his tooth is back, he said, well, maybe they had to do reconstructive stuff to prove that there's no crime committed. Well, people don't lose their teeth. So a crime's been committed if they don't have their teeth. Because I've met other family members that live in that, close to that area. So the weather would have been around the same little towns where they have had their family members missing for 3 years and they got their skeleton remains back and they had their teeth. So, I mean, I just don't understand how you can put a tooth back in somebody's mouth and not even document it and make it just seem like it didn't even happen. But if I wouldn't have gotten those pictures of on the scene, I wouldn't have known it happened. It's unfortunately, I had to look at him and my boyfriend at the time, looked at him, and that's how we noticed it because it was nowhere written in the coroner's report. So that makes you think, what's going on here? What are we trying to hide?
Right. Yeah. There is so much with this case is insane. When I interviewed Barbara before, and the fact that Timmy has called the police, right? Then he called 911 to say someone was chasing him.
He called.
Was calling for help.
He called the police at 4:40 in the morning and said his friend was threatening him. But his friend was going around telling everybody that Timmy was paranoid on drugs, and he called him saying that he was being chased. And they let that go on forever until on June, I know the date, June 16th, I went into the sheriff's office and I asked him for the paperwork because they said the 911 recording, lightning struck this stuff twice too, by the way. I don't have some stuff because lightning struck 2 different times, so it's just gone.
Yeah, that's what they told him.
Yeah, so they didn't have the 911 call, but I wanted the paperwork. And then I got to looking at the paperwork. It's like, wait a minute, there's a big difference between somebody saying they're being chased and somebody saying their friend's threatening them. But Caleb was saying that Timmy said that. So even the cops were going with it. So all these documents, all these recordings I have saying, the police are even saying that Timmy was paranoid on drugs and saying somebody's chasing him. But then when you read the paperwork, you're like, wait a minute, that's not what it says. I mean, I'm not crazy. I see there's a difference between, saying someone's chasing you and my friend's threatening me. But Kayla wanted everybody to think that Timmy's paranoid on drugs and was saying somebody's chasing me. You know what I mean? And they just took up that upon themselves to go with it, I guess, because I don't know why it took till June when I asked for the paperwork for anybody to say, hey, he's not saying somebody's chasing him. He's saying his friend's threatening him. I mean, am I wrong here for feeling that way? Because I think that's strange. I know, it's a lot. If I wasn't living it, I wouldn't believe it.
Wow. Sounds like some corruption going on. Cody's voice says.
Something's going on because there's quite a few mothers I have met that lost their adult children there. And we know they've been murdered. And they just kind of blow you off. You're just this crazy, grieving person that can't accept your loved one's death.
And what town is this again?
Not right now. What time is it?
No, what town? That's in
Fredericktown,
Frederick,
Missouri.
Right.
Fredericktown, Missouri, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Madison County.
Sounds like the police didn't do their job. They should have looked for Timmy. That's who called them. That's right. Exactly.
Well, that's what I couldn't understand. I'm like, well, if you said lightning struck, so your towers were gone, so you don't have the recording. How did you know to go there? They were there in 5 minutes. There was a guy out in front of the house. They arrested him and they left. They never looked for Timmy. They never did anything. It's like that you didn't drive up the driveway. You didn't look for the person that called 911. I know here at my house, if I call 911, they'll call me back and then they still come. They want to see you.
Right.
So I couldn't understand why that didn't happen. I mean, so, and then they tried to say that Timmy just ran out in the woods and he was suicidal because he was grieving his brother and he took some pills and died. Well, people that want to die don't call 911 saying they're being threatened. They want to live. That's why they're calling 911.
Exactly.
So everything I keep getting is, but it's coming along. I'm grateful for the things that are happening, and I know it's just, gosh, the time thing.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening now? Are you getting some type of help?
Well, it's coming here real soon. We're the foundation. We have the stuff we need, and we're going to take it to proper authorities and see if they do something. If they don't, then we'll have to go to the next. And, you know, that's the thing. It's just finding somebody that's going to look at it and take it serious.
I see you have a petition.
And I'm praying. Yeah, and I got a petition that I'm having signed to just ask them to reopen Timmy's case and just look at it. Just look at what we have.
Everyone, that petition, every parent that's on here now and that might come here later, I don't know, it's supposed to be 6 parents, their Facebook, their petition, their GoFundMe, everything that they have for their children is on the link I put down below. Please support if you can, share it. It's all down there. Please.
Us mothers need help. I mean, we do. I mean, it's become to the point where this is happening so much that they're overworked, they're underpaid, and they don't realize that we love our kids and we shouldn't have to do our own investigating.
That's the thing. The police is supposed to protect and serve, and it's a shame. It really is.
Well, and they're having a hard time finding good trained police officers too, because they don't pay them that much. I'm not giving them a pass for that, but I'm just saying they don't get paid enough. So then I think some of these ones that are getting hired that'll take the job don't know what they're doing because they don't pay enough for somebody to want to work and do that. I mean, I know some of them deputies down there are only getting paid $18 an hour. You can get paid at McDonald's $15 an hour and not have to put yourself in danger. So it doesn't give you any incentive to want to do anything either. That's my opinion, though. I mean,
yeah, everybody got their own.
I don't give anybody a pass for not doing their jobs, but I kind of understand why it's come to the point where us mothers have to do our own investigating. Because we're getting people that are taking these jobs that don't have empathy and compassion for other people. Don't care. I don't know, ladies. What do you think?
What do y'all think? Because I was about to say, I just feel the other way with that because they out there killing, RN people.
I know. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why we're not getting.
They don't need no training. They know not to be killing and RN girls and doing that stuff, like, doing things like that. They know right from wrong.
Well, they need to be more investigated. They're hiring people like one of the guys that's running in Fredericktown, Missouri right now for sheriff. He's been fired as the chief of police before for what is it? He was doing something to the women.
See?
Sexual harassment or something like that. And
like the other cop.
Sheriff right now in Fredericktown in this election. Wow. So why he's not checked out? Why is he allowed to even run for a sheriff when he was a chief of police in another town and got fired for that? And they need to do something to check out these people they're hiring to do these jobs too.
not enough background check,
Yeah.
not enough training, not enough. They don't. I feel they just don't give a damn a lot of
No,
times.
and I think also what's part of it that I see, because like I said, my first 10 years, I had these unbelievable, I still stay in touch with the old detectives and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think what happens too is you get the good old boy club and the
good old boy.
the good old girl club. And so I know of certain departments where there's some people who have done stuff and they're just keeping them in, or people move up in the ranks even though they shouldn't, and then they have the power to make decisions. And the higher up they get in the ranks, the harder it is for people to fight them unless you go outside the agency. And then they try to use the excuse we're underfunded. One of the excuses my group right now, the detectives, because it's City of Tulsa, not Sheriff, is that they don't want their detectives talking to families because they want them to focus on case. That's what the new chief told me, and his now, I guess, deputy chief said, well, we're going to take responsibility. We think that detectives need to just focus on this casework. Well, I'm sorry. The case is the families. And,
right.
I'm one of these weird geek scientists too. All the research shows that the cases where the detectives are more involved with the families are the ones that get solved. It's the one that, and like you were saying, it's insane. And people who aren't going through this sometimes don't understand this, that the family is being treated like the enemy.
Right.
That, like you exactly said, Barbara, that, and they don't like me. And I've been told by people in the sheriffs, other people who work.
Join the club.
Yeah. Well, but the people who work behind the scenes for me are the ones who are involved with the case and trying to get it taken over. But what they don't like about me is, I'm not the type of person where they pat my head and go, it'll be okay. Let us just take care of it. You don't really understand criminal justice. I've been doing this 20 years. I've been a trauma psychologist for 37 years. I'm a rape survivor, and I went through healing 30 years ago. So I understand all aspects of it, but I especially have traveled cross country, and I talk to every police chief, along with them not wanting detectives to talk to the families. I have 2 certified. Cheryl McCullum is one of them. And the sheriff's group here in Tulsa County, who was my detective for 1 year, he was the one on the tape. That's Sheriff Regalado. He was my detective for the city for 1 year. Now he helps me behind the scenes. He has a great certified cold case group with FBI, retired head of homicide, all these people. They won't allow any cold case investigators to help with the case. They say, everybody comes from across the country to learn from us. We don't need anybody else. And I've talked to some of the best detectives across the country, and they all say, God, we would just jump at having a fresh set of eyes. It's not that you're not doing your job necessarily, even though it usually is, but it's just, they've proven time and time again, sometimes you have a case for so long you don't see things. I, like you, Barbara, and probably like you too, really think with the way they're acting, they possibly have done something wrong, because they're being really suspect, not allowing cold case, not communicating with me, not looking at new evidence.
They closed Timmy's case, and I was there at their office, and they didn't even have the nerve to tell me they closed it. They never sat down with me or talked to me or anything. I went there on August the 12th. I don't forget my dates and this stuff anymore. I went there on August the 12th just to sit down and get them to talk to me. And they had already closed the case without it. They didn't tell me that. I didn't find out till after I got my documents.
Are you all aware of the Homicide Survivors' Rights Act, the federal one?
No. That sounds pretty interesting.
Well, it is and it isn't. So it's a federal law that passed, and it's got all these things, but we have certain rights, but only if you can prove certain things. But the problem with it, like with me, is that it's for federal cases. So sheriff's cases, indigenous tribes, but if you're city, it doesn't. So a number of states right now, and I'm trying to get it done this year, but I don't know if it'll happen.
What is the name of it? I'm sorry.
The Homicide Survivors Rights Act. I'll find the exact wording of it.
What happened to you? What happened to your son?
Daughter. Let me just see if I can get that. Homicide Survivors Rights. And also, I just want to say, I can't comment on the things. I keep seeing all these comments from out there of people writing stuff. So that's the homicide. Okay. I'll find it and send it to everybody. But it's more a federal case, and that's the problem. Is sometimes it's the city PDs who have some of their biggest problems. I mean, it all depends. If you're in a small town, then it's usually sheriff and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's funny because and I have a friend in Tennessee whose daughter was murdered, and she got Tennessee to pass a Homicide Survivors Act, and so I'm going to talk with her because a lot of times the criminals seem to get more rights than we do. As family. It's about a due process. It's about keeping up communication. It's all these things. But I mean, if you want me to, I can give just a brief thing about my story. Do you want me to do that?
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Yes, please.
Okay.
Then Denise can go. Thank you.
So one interesting, Barbara, is that I always say our story is like a badly made for TV movie who nobody would believe the plot because there's too many twists and turns. You were sort of saying the same thing, but Brittany was raped and suffocated in the middle of the night back in 2004, and we buried her on her 19th birthday. And she had been away to school for a year on a chemistry scholarship. I'm prejudiced, but she was beautiful. But she was also really smart. But she got homesick, came home, moved into apartments right next to the high school that she graduated from. And so in the 4 years she was at the high school, we heard nothing bad about it. Of course, after she was murdered, we heard about assaults there, all these different things. The way I was notified was my first meeting with problems because I lived in a town 50 miles from Tulsa, and a sheriff came to my door at 1 a.m. and handed me a piece of paper. He said, "Are you Maggie Zingman?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You need to call Tulsa police. Your daughter's been murdered." That's how I was notified. I found out later my son was notified. He was in Tulsa with police, with the chaplain, but with me it was just, and then I drive down to Tulsa after calling a friend to drive with me half of the way. And then I made her get out of the car because she had watched Brittany grow up. I got down there. The body was already taken. That's my first lesson that I learned. Like, it's not like CSI. I said, well, why was the body taken? They said, "Oh, we identified her with her license and stuff." And so I met the detective. First detective I had was great. What he told me was sometime between 8 p.m. on September 27th and 9 a.m. on September 28th, she was most likely raped and suffocated. And then she lay dead in her house, in her second-story apartment for 3 days. And what luckily I didn't fully torture myself because he said, she was suffocated immediately. So luckily, he said she died immediately, because my idea when Brittany was little, I always get emotional with this, but when Brittany was emotional, even when she was 18 or 17 and she would get upset, she would always go, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." I mean, she just turned into a little girl. And my biggest fear was that night, she was saying that, but I'm hoping that he got her by surprise and she died. All this evidence was taken. And my detective, we had about 5 good DNA profiles. One profile that we used, blood and semen, was used to compare to 200, 400, 800 suspects. I mean, he turned over every rock, and he would think, oh, this one, this guard that's pretending like he's part of the case, this nephew who lives across the street with his aunt in the apartments who has some sexual crimes. I mean, they just kept turning over everything, and he would get so upset when it would say it wasn't a match. And then, unfortunately, after 9 years, he retired, as did the head of homicide. They both are behind the scenes with me still to this day. For 1 year, I get the sheriff, who's now the sheriff. I didn't realize he was leaving. He said to me one day, Maggie, I don't know. It's so weird how they keep ruling out. By then it was like 1,000 suspects. He said, I hope they didn't make a mistake with the DNA. And then he went to become sheriff. Then I got the detective from hell for the next 8 years who wouldn't share anything with me. I finally got funding because I do a lot of podcasts, and I got funding from one podcast called Case Files and another podcast, Jensen and Holes, the Murder Squad, to send DNA off. We sent DNA off in 2019, the blood and semen DNA that we've been using. And this is where it gets squirrely. It was sent to Parabon, where CC Moore works. They made a phenotype sketch. And so some people know that we had this picture that they can do, forehead Scandinavian, all these things. This is what he possibly looked like. White, Caucasian, European. I got a call from CC Moore about 2 months after the picture came out. And she said, are you aware that Tulsa police said they don't want a genetic analysis of it? Meaning they don't want to know who the DNA owner is. And I said, no. So I called the detective from hell and raised the stink. And so finally they said, yes, she can do it. It took 1.5 years, and I was traveling cross country in Washington State. And I learned that there was a direct match. Direct match means, this is the DNA. This is the owner of the DNA. Yeah. So the detective calls me. It was August, just right around now, August 19th, 2019. And he said, yeah, we had the direct match to the DNA. We went out and interrogated him, and he's not our killer.
Got a lawyer. Got a lawyer. We can't talk to him anymore. Well, what about us?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't that. They interrogated him. I found out later that some people said it wasn't very good interrogation. And for a number of years, I thought he still was. But so I rushed back. I drive 3 days straight from Washington State to, it gets worse. I drive from
maybe somebody in his family.
Yeah. Huh?
Maybe somebody in his family.
No, it gets worse. I'll show you. No, it's a direct match. The DNA was a direct match. It can't be anybody else. It only matched him. Yeah. So I rush back, get back to Tulsa. I say, so how are we going to do this? He goes, we're not going to have, I said, aren't we going to, this is a 17 or 16-year-old case. Aren't we going to do a press conference? No, we're not going to do a press conference. I said, so how are we going to do it? He goes, I'll send you what we're going to say and stuff. And so I'm learned through a couple of sources that what they're going to say, and it is what they said, but it's not what I said. And I want you to try to listen to hear the difference in this. The Tulsa police said, we had some DNA. We got a picture made from it, and somebody called in a tip. From that picture, we went out and interrogated that young man, and he's not our killer. Versus what I ended up with my great CBS reporter in local news, we said what happened. The DNA was analyzed. A direct match.
It's that person.
Yeah. When you say it's a tip from a picture, that means, and people still, 50% of the people still think that DNA, that picture is valid. So they're only sending in tips from white, Caucasian. They're ignoring anybody else. The people who are giving us tips are telling me, well, I didn't think, I thought about this person or this person, but they were Asian, or I thought about this person or this person and they were Hispanic, but that DNA picture said he was pure Caucasian. So then it went from worse to worse because I said that, I said, well, what about other DNA? Because I got more money for them to send out to DNA. And so I got the money, and I learned that they had DNA underneath the nails that they didn't analyze. The DNA that we analyzed the first time was semen found on the sheet and a little itty bitty piece of blood on the wall. It wasn't found inside of Brittany. The nails, which is public knowledge, so I'm not sharing anything I'm not supposed to, TPD if you're watching. Underneath the nails, they should have sent it out. Well, the detective from hell had taken about 9 months. And he was planning to send it to Parabon, where we'd got the first DNA done. But then he called me. He said, the people told me I had to send it to Othram, which is where it is now, which is a good group. But I said, well, what people? He said, Paul Jensen or Paul Holes said that. And I called them up because I talk to them all the time. And they said, no, we didn't say that. But anyways, I knew that they weren't going to send it to Parabon because they also wouldn't let CeCe Moore talk to any media about making the direct match. So she had a show that she did on ABC about matches and about things that don't match, but she couldn't do us. But anyways, so 2 years ago, I get a call from the detective from hell. He goes, I'm retiring Friday. And so next Monday, this phone number won't work for me. That was the last I've heard of him. Everybody else, I've stayed. So it took them 6 months to put another detective on it. Meanwhile, with the stuff on the nails, it's given me some awareness that that young kid really isn't our killer, and it's nowhere related to him at all. But we still don't know who the owner of the DNA underneath the nails is, and stuff. But they won't tell me anything. They won't communicate. I keep asking them about updates on that. So I'm trying to rush this. But the other thing, so you got the DNA. And you also, Barbara, talked about, medical examiners or coroner reports. We have medical examiners here. So a year and a half ago, January 2023, my ex-husband I divorced him in 89, calls me, and I guess he's found God or whatever, but he said, I hope you'll forgive me, but I need to send you something. And I said, what is it? He said, it's an envelope, but I want you to look at the picture of it. And he sends me a picture first. And I say, what? And I see this envelope, and it doesn't have a stamp on it. What it has is you can stick your envelope into a machine, and the machine will print lines on the envelope, making the stamp, meaning it's not a peel and stick. Right. It's a machine printed stamp. The machine printed stamp was dated September 29th or 30th. I forget which, 29th or 30th. The ME said she died 9 p.m. September 27th to 8 a.m. September 28th. This means about a 2 or 3 day difference.
Yeah.
Brady had always sent a card to him every year for him to send to his father because she couldn't remember it. He received it 10 days after she died, never told me about it, showed it to all his family and said he kept it because it was the last thing he had of hers. And so, but he didn't tell me for 19 years. So, but this could change.
Seeing that. I remember you talking about that on the
So this could change the timeline. Then we get the medical examiner's report. Half the stuff that they did in it is not listed. And there's some question whether the MEs keep their own notes. But to not make things even, again, this is a badly made for TV movie. I forgot that the medical examiner who was on during her time of her murder had been fired from Arizona, had been hired by Tulsa, had Tulsa's ME, and I think it was at the same time, I might be wrong, was under federal jurisdiction for a year because of some issues with their analysis. And then Tulsa fired him. Since I gave them the envelope in February where they told me it wasn't going to make a difference, but I couldn't talk about the envelope because it could hurt the case, which is all, excuse me, bull. They have not called my ex-husband. They've not updated me on anything in the envelope. They say supposedly they sent it out. The deputy chief, who is now chief, unfortunately, for it's like I will try to communicate with them. I stopped calling because they always said they never got my message. So I email and text them. I got communicated with 5 times last year, once in February, once in March. And I'm sending them an email every month, once in May, once in August, and once in November. And they don't say anything. They just go, we're busy. I hope you understand that, but nothing. They don't answer my questions. They don't answer why they've stopped.
They told me they're not going to ever speak to me again. They told me that straight out.
Well, this is why we need this homicide survivors' rights, because they can't do that. But, you know, they either not only treat you like you're this little emotional homicide mother or whatever, but they threaten you. They are retaliatory because I've raised a stink. Now they don't communicate with me. I did a story with somewhat of a tabloid, The Sun USA, and it was the first time anybody talked on there. And I was talking about the lack of communication and all this stuff. And they flat out lied in this national news thing. The guy said, and it was, I won't say his name, but he said, oh, we work hand in hand with Dr. Zingman. And whenever there's something new, valid information, we always communicate with them. And I wrote him back 2 or 3 times and said, it's not about you communicating with me out of the blue. But when I ask, why did you all deny the cold case group? These are certified people who know the case. Why have you not communicated with me about the DNA analysis? Well,
then they're bugging them.
Well, but they're being retaliatory. But they won't answer anything. They just come back and say, I know you're upset, but I don't. And then I said, and can I meet with the detective every couple of months or something? They go, no, you don't need to meet with the detectives. We'll communicate with you if there's any new. And I keep going back, if there's anything new, there hasn't been anything new in 2 years. So that gives you the right not to communicate. I mean, it's crazy. And I've really minimized everything, but I can't change how they're treating me, but I'm going to be blasting this and changing laws.
It's what the thing is too. I have recorded of them telling me straight out that they're not going to ever speak to me again.
Yeah.
That I've done nothing but twist their words and make them look foolish. I said, what have I done? I just want a reasonable explanation of what happened to my son.
Yeah.
So now you don't get a phone call. You don't get nothing.
Yeah. Well, and what's criminal to me, and again, I go back to the other families, is I'm hitting this anniversary, and I wish I could do something really big, but I like you were saying earlier, I'm a mom. I've done most of this on my own. I've covered the 300,000 miles through 48 states on 23 tours, all on my own, self-funded and everything. But this anniversary this anniversary is going to be the hardest because we buried Brittany on her 19th birthday. And this anniversary is the 20th anniversary. So it's the first anniversary where the case is older than she was. And this is just tearing my heart out. But I'm not going to let it kill me because I refuse to let her kill her or the police take away my life.
She wouldn't want that from you anyway.
No.
She wants you to live your best life that you can.
Oh, I am, but she also would be doing the same for me. So,
right.
But that's sort of my story, but it's crazy. And the other one big crazy thing is I love these podcasts. I love these lives and stuff, but it's really weird with even my traveling in my caravans and stuff. And with all the twists and turns, national news in 20 years has never done my case. And what I'm hearing is that sometimes they call Some of them, well, I know News Nation has called them, New York Times has called them, Good Morning America has called them, and pretty much they turn the stories away, which is why I was surprised that McCord talked of this one story, but only because it's somewhat of a tabloid, I think. But, you know, I have heard from unnamed sources that they're telling, oh, you don't want to do a story on her because she's just so way out there, you know.
What?
So
I'm so tired. You know,
well, just one last thing.
Wow.
I wouldn't believe it's true, except that after
I've heard it from other parents too, so that's why I'm like, wow.
After I lost the detective from hell, after about 7 months, I said, can I have a meeting? Because I haven't had any updates. So I get a meeting. It's all the department heads, sexual crimes, homicide, forensics, etc. And the deputy chief, who's now the chief, said in front of all these people, he said, so Dr. Zingman, you seem to have a problem with how we're doing the case, so the floor is yours. It was all I could do to not cry. And luckily my detective, who I love, was there because now he works in sort of far off forensics, but not on the case. You know, I said, how dare you? You know, nobody's been on the case. I was asking for an update. If you look at any of the media stories that I've done across the country, you'll find that I always build. But he said that in front of all his people. And then when I complained about it after the meeting and emailed him about it, he wrote me back and he said, well, I checked with all my department heads and they said that I didn't treat you that way. Of course, what are your department heads going to say? You know, I mean, that's where somebody who, I mean, I'm a fighter, you know, and many parents are, but many parents aren't. And when they get treated like that, that would kill some parents to have somebody say like that.
That's why I bought a recorder, because talking to me like that, I thought nobody would believe this because I'm having a hard time believing this if somebody's me. So
well, and I only one time was able to. It's very hard to bring stuff into their police department.
But the only way they're going to hear it is if they hear it from their voice themselves. Because
exactly, I agree. I agree. You know, and I tried to do that, and I actually got them when on one thing. But whenever I meet with them, they tell me I can't bring anybody with me, and I have to use their victim advocate that's in there. And I told them, you know what? I've trained all the victim advocates in Oklahoma for the last 15 years because I'm a trauma psychologist. And the one thing we teach all our victim advocates is you don't force anything on a victim or a survivor, because that is just replicating and re-traumatizing them. And still they go, well, you can just choose not to meet with us then.
Oh.
Anyway, I don't want to take up any more time, but yeah, I mean, but it's sad because Barbara, already your story, and I'm sure that yours is going to be the same. You know, it's sad that because they each want to make us like, oh, you know what? You're such an outlier. Oh, you're such a oversensitive stuff. None of the, and they've told me that, Tulsa has told me that no other homicide family gives us this problem. And that's what they do.
What?
In all these cities. Yes. Yes.
Well, and I've learned.
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry.
But it's true. And I've learned through this, though, that I've met other mothers and families that have gone through this, and they do want to like push you aside and say, hey, you just don't want to believe what our narrative is that you want us to believe. So since you don't, you're just a little crazy and you need to just move on with your life. I've been told literally to move on with my life.
Oh yeah, I am.
By the judge's wife that my son was found on the property.
It's crazy. Anyways, that's me.
How are you?
Next.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here trying to hold myself because I am furious right now.
Yeah.
I'm at a point in life where I'm not handing power over to them anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, whatever angers me, I mean, and it's how I survived and how I healed years and years ago as a trauma survivor, and how I teach a lot of my clients is you use the anger to motivate you. Like, excuse my language, but F you, I'm not going to let you keep taking me down. Even her killer, I go, you know what? I'm traveling cross country. I don't care that I'm 69, almost 70. You know, I'm not going to live in fear. I can't. And I don't. And she didn't live in fear because I was a trauma survivor, because I was a trauma psychologist. She knew how to defend herself. She knew how to read people, you know. And so that's the hard thing is we have to allow ourselves to grieve. We have to motivate ourselves and really fight. But, you know, I've met too many families where the anger just destroys them, you know.
I am not letting bitterness and anger control my life. I was there a long time ago, and I know how I allowed it to control my life, and I refuse to be an angry, bitter person. No matter what happens, I'm not going to do that to myself. Yeah. My kids wouldn't want me to.
Yeah.
That's right. I know that's right. Miss Denise, Justice for Aaliyah. This is the case that I am on right now. And another mother, but she couldn't make it here today. Actually, two of them. I'm on 3 cases right now, but they couldn't make it here today. But Denise is here.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, Denise.
Hey, babe.
Hey. Now, I'm just sitting here baffled listening to what they saying, and it's upsetting because it's like they got questions asked. They got to talk to the police. They got the police investigated. With my case now, let me tell you the story. On July 19th, 2020, my 22-year-old daughter was found hung in Houston. And the police asked no questions. They knocked on no doors. They didn't ask the neighbors. They didn't ask her abusive ex-girlfriend any questions. They just said suicide. Even though her apartment door was locked, they said she walked upstairs barefooted. Now, maybe they didn't know until the autopsy came back, but there was no dirt on her feet.
Yeah.
The ligature they said she used was her fitted bed sheet. That was previously cut, and it states it in the autopsy, it was previously cut to 21 inches. A security guard found my daughter, and he took a picture of her hanging and made sure I got the picture. But he failed to tell the police in his statement that he took a picture of my daughter hanging. So, and in that picture, my daughter is holding a cell phone. And I recorded this security guard 2 years later and said, "You found my daughter hanging." He told me no. I said, "You didn't find my daughter hanging and take a picture and give it to the Black Panthers." He said, "No, I was mistaken." I said, "Well, if I find the body, I'm going to remember that." Then all of a sudden he remembered. And I asked him, why did he take a picture? He said, so the peoples could be held accountable. I have a bunch of evidence. I have voice recordings. I know it was the abusive ex that did this. It was 2 other people that were involved also. And I have voice recordings, screenshots. I have the homicide guy recording telling me they don't investigate abuse. And he's recorded saying that out of 4 years, the police have never, ever, ever called me. And I've called and left emails. They've never called me. The last thing I called homicide for was, I called the coroner's office, was the last person I called. And I asked them, I said, well, your autopsy report's kind of hard to read, big words. I said, I would just like to know, did you scrape my daughter's nails? They told, the guy said, okay, what's your daughter's number? I gave him the case number. He looked it up. He said, oh, you have to contact homicide. I said, I have to contact homicide to know whether you scraped your nails or not. I know they're covering up too, along with the police, because the police had probable cause to ask a question. I know the coroner's covering up because the picture I have of my daughter hanging, you can plainly see blood on her knuckles, not listed in my autopsy. You could see bruising all up and down her arm, not listed in the autopsy. Nobody will answer any question. I can't even ask why the sheet was previously cut. Where's the other piece? They answer no questions. They don't call me back. Nothing. They're very rude to me. They treat me like garbage. So I was not notified my daughter died till 4 days later. The police didn't notify me. I was notified. I woke up to a text message from this abusive ex-girlfriend, and the text message read, they told me your daughter has died. So my husband called the police down there in Houston, and the only thing the police says, oh yeah, they confirmed it. They were looking at a report that my daughter hung herself with the sheet and left no note. That's the only thing they told me. The only thing. And then my police report and my coroner investigator report, they state two totally different things. Like the police report, my daughter took a backpack with her and some Nike slide-on shoes. Police report states the backpack was by the knot she tied, or by the ligature or whatever. I have a picture of my daughter, no backpack in the picture. Coroner investigator report says the backpack was on the 2 bottom steps. The same thing with like my police report, the security guard saying when he made his rounds, there was no body at a certain time. To an hour later, made rounds, there was a body. Well, it has times in there. Well, the coroner investigator report states the same thing, but the times are like 20-minute time difference. And it's like, you don't remember? They're just stating totally two different things. I have an EMS report, the EMS team that showed up to the scene that night. Their report states that my daughter's skin was mottled and her extremities were showing signs of rigor mortis. So I called Houston. I got the EMS doctor recorded. I said, why does your report state this? But they're saying my daughter had only been dead an hour. So why does your report state this? He said, oh, the report I'm reading, it sounds like your daughter had been dead. But nothing. All these recordings, nothing.
And for her to have allegedly, they trying to say her hanging herself, she would have had to walk up those long stairs. She had no dirt on the bottom of her foot at all.
Crazy.
Plus her door was locked. Her apartment door was locked.
You have your documents. Make sure
she got everything.
Yeah.
But
what can we do as mothers to change this? What can we do? Something's got to give. Mothers can't keep going through this over and over and losing our babies.
I mean, they were supposed to give me a victim's advocate. I heard her mention a victim's advocate. They didn't even give me a victim's advocate. And when I went to city council and mentioned that I didn't get a victim's advocate, then I get this victim advocate named Oscar calling me. And it's like it's been 4 years. And he kind of acted irritated to talk to me. And then he gave me 2 phone numbers. And where I live, a lot of stuff's closed down. One of the numbers didn't work. The other number was for children. And I never heard from this man again.
I talked to my representative where I live, and he gave me an hour, almost 2 hours of his time. Sounded like he was interested, asked me to send him these emails and stuff. And then I called him again and he seemed all right. And then all of a sudden, nothing. It's almost like I feel like somebody told him to shut up.
Oh, yeah, someone about did. Because like with my daughter's case, the Black Panthers were involved. They ghosted me. They totally ghosted me. I got the FBI involved and they're full of it too. The ones in Houston were involved, and I didn't send them no letter or anything. I just sent them a packet of all my evidence, all these screenshots, all these documents I got, along with the zip drive of all the voice recordings I got. This FBI dude called me, and I called to verify he was FBI, and he was. But he called me like a month later, and he said, yeah, my boss received your documents, and he said that I needed to call you because something's not right about this case. So that's why he was calling. He asked me for my daughter's cell phone. Now, mind you, I sent him no letter, but he did have a picture. I sent the picture of my daughter's hands holding the cell phone. So he's seen it because he asked me for the cell phone.
Yeah.
Well, like 2 weeks were going by, and He said he was trying to get a hold of the FBI where I live so I could take the phone to them and they could mail it to him. And like 2 weeks went by and I hadn't heard anything. And I was thinking this is taking too long for him to reach back out to me. So I asked him, I said, do you still want my daughter's cell phone? He said, no. He said the Black Panthers had it and they could have put an encrypted text on it. Okay, y'all tell me anything. So then we were talking about my daughter's box spring to her bed was missing. And he came back and told me, oh, crackheads will steal anything. I said, you mean to tell me a crackhead pushed a brand new mattress off and just stole the box spring? No. So he shut up. Then he told me there was no dirt on my daughter's feet because the day before they blowed the steps off outside. So, and I have a text message with this man talking about he questioned my daughter's friends and friends that weren't friends of hers. And no, he didn't, because I got the ex-girlfriend on an interview talking about the FBI, the police. Nobody has ever questioned her.
Do you still have? Do you still have the phone?
Yes, it's locked.
You keep that phone.
Oh, I'm keeping it. I've had it 4 years. It's locked.
You know what I'm talking about. Keep your phone for that.
Yeah, the girlfriend had the phone at first, but it could still everything. Even though she tried to erase stuff, it don't matter because that phone could still be.
Oh, I'll tell you.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
You can't erase everything.
I know for a fact through the foundation. Yeah, I don't care what you delete, what you do.
Still, there you go.
Exactly.
That's right.
Just thank God I do. Well, it's like if the police would do their jobs, they would do their jobs and investigate. And all I want is to ask a question. I'm not asking them to, and I told them this, I'm not asking you to arrest nobody for murder, but I just want a question answered. Exactly. But I can't even get that. But if they even did an inkling of their job, my daughter's Facebook page was memorialized, not by me. I wrote my daughter in Facebook Messenger because that's how we always communicated on August 8th. Because it made me feel better. Why did somebody look at it? Then I got 2 missed phone calls from my daughter on July 22nd, and she was dead.
I know what you're talking about. Since somebody checked in on Timmy's Facebook exactly a month from the day he went missing. One day it would have been exactly a month. And then they got back on his Facebook and took it down.
Yeah, that's what they did.
That's not curious to you. It is to me. I think that's
right.
Yeah. And like the coroner. I called the coroner up and I said, did he have clothes on? You know, the coroner couldn't answer me if he had clothes on or not. And I said, well, you took my son to St. Louis. You can't remember if he had clothes on. There's only 4,400 people in your town. How many bodies do you find on July
20th? I know.
Well, the coroner told me, I asked him, did my daughter defecate on herself? They told me they couldn't tell from the pants she was wearing. And it was like, well, if you see pictures of my daughter and how she's dressed and how she was found hung, she wouldn't have wore that. And so I know for a fact they changed her clothes. But that's why the coroner couldn't say if she defecated on herself or not.
They changed her clothes or they put clothes on her.
They changed her clothes. I believe they changed the clothes.
I want to play an audio of Aaliyah. Because Aaliyah had called her mother, Denise, a little while before. Aaliyah was jumped. So let me just go back a little bit. The relationship that her daughter was in was very abusive. She even tried to escape to a place called Covenant House. Now, when Denise told me about a place called Covenant House, I said to Denise, do you know what kind of place that is? Because I was used to live in a place called Covenant House in Manhattan. But there's one, she said, that was in Texas as well. Now, Covenant House is a place that is like for runaways or if you're homeless and stuff. And they would not tell your identity. If you are running away for a domestic violence, or if you are running away for a family member, or if you're homeless, if the feds was to come there looking for you, that shelter would not tell your identity. Your mama could come there, the police, they cannot tell your identity. So the fact that her daughter went to Covenant House, she was trying to escape
Exactly.
that relationship. And then the fact that the girl Courtney said, oh, I had to go find her at the place called Covenant House. When a little while before that, Aaliyah was beaten badly and jumped.
Well, I know them.
Let me just play this for you.
Because I've been in them. They do not, they don't tell you, they don't let anybody know anything about you.
This is the audio. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Mama, I don't care about none of that stuff. I just want to know why everybody hate me. I just want to go home. I want to go home. Yeah. I'm scared people are out to get me. Like, I should never feel like that.
A little bit before that, though, if I go back a little bit, it was on pause. She said that, Mama, they beat me.
That shit hurts. Like, my head got baked in. Like, I want to go home, Mama. I don't care about none of that stuff.
Her head got banged in. So she was just beat up a while before that, and the next thing you know, she's hanging on her balcony. Police asked no questions to the girlfriend. They didn't investigate anything. They didn't question the girlfriend. They didn't question none of her friends. These are gang member bloods. They questioned nobody at all. I am so proud of Denise, because Denise used to go and she would go buck wild on these people, but she have changed so much and focused so much on just trying to get justice for her daughter. Like, Denise, tell them what you have been working on.
Well, I go door to door in my city and collect funds because I'm trying to get a PI. So I get out here in the heat and go door to door asking for $1 change or whatever. I just recently got back from Houston. I attended the city council meeting with no avail, of course. I got a petition going. I just constantly do podcasts and post about my daughter. And I thought people that don't want to help me, it used to upset me, but I came to the realization that a lot of these podcast people, okay, you're not an investigator. You don't have to do my daughter's story if you don't want to. I mean, it's your loss. Don't do it. I don't care.
She came to
I do care because I like Renee out there, but
yeah, she just like,
can you hear me?
Accept it, you know what I mean, and just continue to do what she has to do. She's out there going door to door collecting funds. We've actually contacted a private investigator. He don't play, which he is good, but he is expensive. And we got Barbara. We have to bring her back on. It says you need to connect your microphone, Barbara. Connect your microphone, babe. Okay, there you go. You're good. He's just very expensive.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. You're good. He's just very expensive, but this private investigator he don't play. But then Barbara had hooked us up with the guy that she's involved with. So we're going to be working with him. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm really proud of her, and I'm proud of a lot of these parents that you have to push your kid's case out there.
Yep.
You know, you have to be the private investigator. You are the investigator. You are the police. You are the advocate. You have to push your kid's face out here on every social media plan or every social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, every social media. You have to. You know,
it's a full-time job.
Yeah,
you have to record everything. You have to dig, look into these people's Facebook pages, because kids nowadays, they live on social media.
Yeah.
Look on all their accounts, go all the way back to when something happened to your child. I know it might be time consumed, takes a long time, but they talk. Yeah, I just
But
say
I wanna
record
tell you,
everything.
before the foundation helped me, it was a year. I just couldn't say anything. When I was told they were helping me, I could not say anything for a while because there was things that were being done that couldn't be out in the public. So it might not seem like things are being done for you behind the scenes, but there is. It's just, you don't have to go out and beg people to get an investigation. If somebody got a hold of you, they are going to do that for you. I just want you to know. But it's time consuming. It's hard to wait, and you're thinking you're going to get a phone call. And sometimes it might be a month before you get a phone call.
He just reached out to her.
Yeah, I understand. And I appreciate that, and thank you. The reason why I go door to door too is because I've been going through this for 4 years. I've had so many people tell me that, oh, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to donate to your GoFundMe. Nothing. They don't do it.
No.
People have reached out to, they don't get back to me. I mean, I've just been lied and lied and lied to.
Right, for 20 years of people doing that. You know, I mean, I'm lucky because there are some, you know, and then I'm so hard-headed in my first 10 years. It was like, I'm going to do this all myself. I'm not going to take help from anybody, you know, but then especially, and that's the thing, you know, I always say, you know, you're going to have every single emotion. Yeah, and it's normal to have every single emotion, but you know, it can be like I think you were saying, Barbara. You know, when people like initially the first 3 years, I'd stand on the street corners near her apartment, pass out flyers, and when people wouldn't take a flyer, under my breath I was going, "Well, just wait till your daughter's murdered."
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying that out there.
Then I realized, I mean, I'd never said it to them, but then I realized it's hard because we remind people of what we don't want them to think about. Because I always say when we first have our kids, we hold them in our arms and we feel this love just pass through our body. But most of us forget the second wave of emotions, and we're holding this little baby going love, love, love. And then all of a sudden we think, what if? And when we think what if, we have to push it out of our mind, because if we think about what happens if I ever lost this child, then we can't let them live. But we are a reminder to all those parents who push that what if after the child was born. You know, they don't do it. But, you know, I also was surprised. I have, you know, I was part of Surviving Parents Coalition for a year, and I got very jealous when my friends' cases were solved, or I got jealous when they would get national coverage and they'd get a tip that really helped solve it, you know. And so I get, you know, but now, I mean, I understand it's just luck of the draw, but now at 20 years, people, when they go, what can I do? I go, you know, I'm 69. I'm going to be 70 in February. I've taken this over 300,000 miles, but I'm never going to ever, before I die, get this story out there across the news. And the thing is that our case, it's so locked in by Tulsa that even my great reporter, she can only rock the tree a little bit. National news has to investigate to shake up the tree. And like I was telling them earlier, I've learned that sometimes, because national news in 20 years, even with my caravans, with all the bizarre twists, they've never covered the story. And I've learned that New York Times, other people told me they're calling. Some people told me that national news is called and they go, oh, you don't want to do that story. She's just crazy. And so, but I'm afraid now because my son helps me a lot, but I do this on my own and I'm afraid I'm going to die.
Oh, you have a son?
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You're afraid to die?
I be looking at your pictures and stuff. I didn't know you had a son.
I feel her because I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I feel what you're saying, that you have that fear because it's been so long. And I had this lady tell me, oh, it's only been 4 years. There's been cases after 36 years that have been solved. And I'm sitting here doing the math. I'm like, I'm 48 years old. What, am I going to be dead when this case gets solved?
Yeah, I want to slap people's faces. Hold on a second. I want to slap people's faces when they go, oh, but they solve cases that are 36. Well, excuse me, but that is criminal. I fought for 10 years to get DNA at arrest here in Oklahoma, and it's still not a great law here. But we need to do it nationally because rapists and violent people get arrested numerous times, but often don't get convicted. So in the states that don't take arrestee DNA, those people get put in, they get slapped hands, and then their DNA is not in the system. If we had DNA at arrest, because even the Supreme Court has said it's no different than fingerprints. Our case, my case, the DNA was a direct match.
I don't get why.
But he's not our killer. I can't tell you why, but I know he's not our killer. But the thing is our case is a perfect example. You can have a match, but if you have no other evidence, you can't falsely convict. DNA at arrest does two things. And here in Oklahoma, we were one of the first states to get involved with the Innocence Project because DNA at arrest, one, gets the sexual predators and the violent people off the street. But it also, DNA at arrest, guess what it protects against? False convictions.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because I'm just asking this because I watched, Law and Order or whatever. So they say the DNA is a match. Could it be somebody in his family?
No. A match. Okay, so what they do when they analyze DNA in the real basic way, when you first get somebody's DNA, you have every single culture in the world, you have all these things, and it's like this big root of a tree. Then, and as you start analyzing DNA, you see that they have European ancestors or African. Finding your roots is a good example of how they do it. You should watch that because he talks about how he does this. And so it starts with a big tree, and then they go, okay, well, it looks like they're possibly Hispanic, possibly Asian, possibly Native American. And so they keep analyzing all the different strands. And as they get down to the narrow strand where it's not common in more people, then they start going, oh, okay, this guy is mostly Asian, but he's still, let's see if we can find any people that he might be related to. So now there's bigger database. So then when they start they have a big strand that's still not one individual. Then that's why they put the DNA in, because like for males or females, but you can sometimes find a fifth cousin or a fourth cousin or a grandfather or a father. But when you make a match, it's not anybody else but that person. And so sometimes they never can make the direct match. So they go for a grandfather and then they go, oh, look at this one nephew or this one grandchild of this grandfather. And they've never made a match with that DNA, but they go, let's look at that person as a suspect. Is there enough to look at him? And then they take the DNA and try to match it. And if it's a direct match, you can't do a partial match. It won't give you anything. You can only go to court with a direct match because and you have to have other evidence. If you don't have the evidence, if there's no other evidence except for DNA, you can't convict them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. My DNA is only my DNA. Your DNA is only your Denise's DNA. And even though we may have some common things, when it gets down to a direct match, and that's what's so damn confusing. Earlier, I don't know if you heard, but I said there was the picture made from our DNA. And when Tulsa police announced that they interviewed somebody, instead of saying it was a direct match, they said, oh, we got a tip from the DNA picture that, they draw a picture of what it looks like he might look like. And we got a tip from that picture and he wasn't our killer.
Is that the picture that I seen before?
Yeah, but that picture is the DNA. And so when you say it's a tip from the picture and it's not our killer, people think, oh, but it's still the picture's valid, right? Because they didn't say the picture wasn't it. The picture can be anybody who's Caucasian, who has European, who's that. But when you say it's a direct match, it's only this person, which Tulsa police still refuse to say, we lose out. We lose out.
Now they're gonna, what about, like you said, under her fingernails?
Yeah, that's being analyzed now. But they've started with the big tree and they're narrowing it in. And it's like every time you try to think who it is, you go and look at this. And if you have more matches, because your DNA has thousands of these little pegs, and the more you get matches on the pegs, it starts narrowing it down. First, you say male or female. Then you say, what is their histories? Is it European? Is it Finland? Is it American? Is it Native American? And then you start narrowing it down. You keep trying to find more matches, but when it gets down to the individual, it's like a fingerprint. My fingerprint might look like yours, but I'm going to have 2 or 3 little lines that are only my lines. And it's the same thing with DNA. It may start looking like somebody, but when you get down to the match,
wow,
it's only that person. But that Tulsa police, I still get tips on that picture. I just had a lady, I said, and she was telling me about it, and I said, I didn't need to ask this. Did you call me because of the picture? It doesn't mean necessarily I know it's not him. I can't say why. I know it's not him. I don't know who it is, but I know it's not a white Oklahoman, so.
Well, and a lot of times, like you get, I don't know, you have people that are willing to help you and stuff, and just having a person sit down with you and look at you and take you serious and not treat you like you're some kind of idiot, then that helps. I mean, that takes a big weight off your shoulder just for somebody to give you a day.
I have a team of the county head sheriff, because he used to be my detective, the retired head of homicide, FBI. I have a head of a forensic school here. I have Cheryl McCollum Mack, who's a Zone 7, who's a CSI in Atlanta. I have a whole bunch of people, and that's how I survived. And then I've had 300 reporters in those 48 states.
But you got Elena here. She hasn't get nobody. She gets nobody to look at her stuff. She's getting nothing. And if somebody just sit down with her, that helps and tremendously, just to get somebody to take you serious, so you don't feel like you're.
Well, and that's like
I
this.
definitely have empathy on what you're going through right now.
But she does. Denise now has Brooklyn. Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn.
Other people that will be there for you, because
I got her
it's
back.
hard to go through that too.
Of course you do.
I believe in miracles. I believe in
We've called news stations, right, Mama? We've called news stations, and it was only out of 5 news stations in Houston, Texas, one said, email me the story, email me. But we're not going to stop with that. We're going to call other news stations as well. It doesn't have to be Houston. You know,
and go around, and stuff. And then what I found, because, in traveling and trying to find ways ever since 2007, what I always do, especially if you're going outside of Houston, but the reason they do the stories is because they want it to have some hook. So the hook is, this could be your daughter. This doesn't, this could be, this is happening across the US. And I always, whenever I go to a city, like if you try something different than Houston, or pick up on a Houston thing, but let's say Beaumont. I did a great story in Beaumont, Texas, and which is just a little bit east. Gilcrease Beach, because a friend of mine had a story down there, and it was a person out on Gilcrease Beach where you can camp who saw one of the suspects from a murder in Virginia. But the reason I got the story was I said, I know other people have gotten, information on their cases. And so I named some of the Houston cases, and then I named my friend. So if you can find a hook of somebody like, whatever city you go to, if you went to Paris, Texas or something, or wherever, or any nearby,
Well, I have 3 cases I'm working on from Texas.
Yeah. Well, but try to pull it with some hook, not just your story, which is what you want your story, but the reason they'll tell your story is because, it's also like the Smiths down the road. Okay. They're still focusing on your story, but unfortunately they think, how are we going to sell this story? I mean, that's what they think. Rating.
Other stories as well.
Houston said, one of my friends sent me an article about Houston that this news guy was on the news, and there was like, I don't know, it was like 200 or some thousand cases that were not investigated, that were that the police marked them down as a lack of personnel. And a lot of these cases were rape cases, child molestation. Statute of limitation ran out on a lot of these cases. And that was right around the time of my daughter's case. And so I thought something was going to be done, but no, that was right around my daughter's timing. It was right around it. And, but with my daughter's case, they did no investigation. They just marked it as suicide and closed it.
Yeah, that's just crazy. That's criminal.
Yeah.
I always wonder why you can't, it seems like the FBI would be interested in this.
Exactly.
I feel within them 2 weeks when he wanted my daughter's cell phone, I feel that he went and talked to somebody and they told him to leave it alone. And he left it alone. I feel like it's a big old cover up.
Yeah.
Big cover up.
Squeaky wheel. Yeah.
Yep, that's fact. But keep your stuff close.
Yeah.
Have copies of your stuff somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a big thick file like this of paperwork.
Yeah. Well, share it with somebody that you trust.
Won't nobody look at it. I just want somebody to sit down with me and look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you need a copy somewhere else, because I know another case where the woman's house got burnt for her evidence to get gone. So
Well, mine's out there. Mine's out there.
Yeah.
And then it's like my daughter's case has been marked. They won't even tell me why they marked it confidential. It's marked confidential. I'm like, I called homicide and asked them, why is the mark confidential? If y'all rolled it suicide and closed the case, why is the mark confidential? The homicide lady, you already know that. That's what she told me. I already know that. They're like really rude to me and they won't answer no questions.
I already know it. Then why don't you tell me, just so I can confirm what I know? Yeah.
Yeah. If I already know, why am I calling you, asking you?
Yeah.
I quit doing that. I quit.
Jasmine heard her call.
You have some things that are on your side right now, and it's going to take time, because it does, unfortunately. The timing thing is not our timing, but you are going to you've got somebody behind you that's going to help you.
Good.
I know that, because I know what they've done for me already.
Yeah.
And isn't he's a private investigator, right? But he's something
homicide
detective, right?
Retired. I mean, the education, he's got a whole team of people, and his foundation he works with other teams, and they help people that don't have money or have missing or homicides. They believe are homicides. Just stick with whatever he tells you to do, whatever paperwork he tells you to do, or who you need to get a hold of to get your stuff. He'll tell you what to do. Just keep doing that and keep your hope. You'll be all right. I believe that.
Guys, I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
and stuff. I really want to stay, but I've got another phone call. I have to get on it.
Oh, okay.
All right. It was nice.
All right. Thank you for joining.
Oh, I would love to just do this for hours.
Okay.
But
Thank
can
you so
you
much.
can you connect us with, if other people don't mind, emails and stuff, so I can keep talking with these ladies?
What do you mean? Like
Text me their emails.
I could send you they
That'd be great,
they
yeah.
Facebook stuff and everything. Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to lose
Yes,
it.
please sign my petition.
I will.
Yeah, everything. Yeah,
Mine
all
too.
that stuff is down
I'll
below.
sign yours.
No, everything is down below.
Well, you all have a place in my heart, so this was great.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so
This will
much.
help if mothers get together and at least support each other through the.
It's half the battle right there. Definitely.
Well, I lost both my kids in 8 months. I didn't just lose my youngest boy. I lost my oldest one before that. So it's been a rough fight, but.
Yeah. Well, and that's with Brittany, I lost her in October, and then by December, my mother came down with anaplastic thyroid cancer. And so I lost her 5 months later. So it was like my daughter and my mother, both of them just taken. So I try to just do stuff in honor of them now and everything.
That's what I was going to
Be the
ask
kind
y'all.
person.
Exactly. I was going to ask y'all, how would you honor your children?
By doing this.
Living my best life and treating people with kindness.
Exactly.
Keep praying for
It's
this
not hard to
message.
treat people with kindness.
Yeah.
But we could all let all this make us bitter and angry too. And I don't want to be that. My kids
Me
don't
neither.
want to be that.
Okay, gang, I gotta go, but I love this.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll keep in
thank
contact with
you.
you, of course. This is not the end. You know, I'm
Yeah.
going to bring you back.
This has been such a gift.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm definitely bringing you back.
Thank you.
I'll come back easily.
Okay.
That's how we get out of here, but
Oh, okay. I'll bring you down. Okay.
okay. There we go.
Bye-bye. Bye. All right. I just have a few questions, ladies, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me see here. Let me go with, what is your favorite memory of your children?
There's so many. I mean, I'm just now getting to the point right now in my life where those good memories are coming back.
Well, give me a memory that Timmy did and you would just sit here and crack up laughing.
Okay. So we were outside on my porch one day.
There we go. See?
Timmy just got off work. And he's sitting on the porch with me and Jimmy, and we're talking, and he says, Mom, and you could tell he was wore out. He goes, Mom, I helped this old man at work today. He goes, he's done his time, so I need to help him out. And I just kind of laughed, and I go, well, I'm thinking this guy's like 70, 80, the way he was talking.
Right.
I go, well, how old was the guy? He goes, 52.
Uh-uh.
And I just cracked up laughing. I go, oh my God, Jimmy's laughing too. We're laughing and we're like, man, you must think we're as old as dirt then, huh? Because
He's still young, the guy.
I know, that's what I
imagine
thought.
what he think about if he would think about y'all, right? Oh God.
Let's hear one of your good memories.
What's your good memory of oh my God, her daughter? I was watching a video when I did her birthday thing and I was over here cracking up. So I know she got a lot. Give us some, Denise.
I guess what brings back the memory to me is at the apartment complex I used to live at when she was young, and she was on a bike. So she loved her bike, and she loved SpongeBob, not SpongeBob. It was cat dog or something, and she would always just watch her cartoons and stuff. That is what I mainly remember her as young like that.
Aw, okay. Did y'all have a pet name for your children?
You're not going to believe what Timmy's was.
What was it?
Oob.
Oob?
Yes.
Hey,
Oob.
oop. Hey, oop. It's cute.
He even used that as passwords and things.
Really?
And
Oh
I
my
was like, wow, I didn't know you kept that on yourself to me.
Oob.
Like
Where
it
would he,
was
where would he get that from? Oob, like
when he was a little boy, we just called him. I mean, when he was a baby, we called him Oob. I don't know.
you said poop or oop?
Oob.
Oop,
Oob.
oop, oop. Oh, that's cute. I would have never thought of that. Oop.
Jimmy,
Okay.
when his brother passed away, Jimmy went into the stress unit for a few days, and I was talking to him on the phone, and he goes, "Well, Mom, I'm calling you to tell you what my name is, so if you want to call up here and talk to me, this is what I told him my password was." And I didn't even know Jimmy used that anymore. And he goes, "Oob," and I started laughing. I go, "You don't say that?" Sometimes
Aw, he still remembered as a kid. All right, Miss Denise, what was Aaliyah's pet name for her? What was her little pet name you have for her, or even her tag name?
Her tag name though, she liked to be called Lee. So she
Lee.
went off that. Yeah, it was either L-E-E or
Lee.
L-I-L-I. Yeah, Lee. So
Hey,
I'm not.
Lee.
I guess I'm not good making up nicknames because, like my daughter Naya, I call her Nai. So
hey,
just be a piece of their name I use.
who calls the kid Oob? I don't know why we just called him Oob from the time he was born, it seemed like.
Aw, that's
Well,
adorable.
Aaliyah's brother's nickname was Booty.
Booty, trucker, booty.
Don't know why you come
All
up.
right. What would you describe their personality and their character?
I guess I'll go. I would describe Aaliyah. She was sweet and caring, always smiling. She wanted to be a social worker, so she just cared about people. She loved everybody. And she just loved everybody. Yeah, she was always smiling. She would always cover her mouth, like when she smiled, because her two front teeth. When she was like 8, she fell and broke the two front teeth. And so ever since then, it's like she smiled like this and always covered it up, even though you couldn't really tell because I had got them fixed. But yeah, she was a sweet girl. Everybody loved Aaliyah. Everybody always was like, yeah, I remember she was walking around and she was always smiling. She was always, happy.
Aww. And that's something because I watched her videos and I must say she had me in here cracking up, and I don't even know her, but I could tell that I would have gotten along with her great. She seemed like she had a wonderful personality and very loving. So Timmy,
I realized was a little shy, but once you got to know him, you got to see all of his personality. And he had a big smile. And he would do this too for a while because he for many years.
He would go like that?
Yeah, he would cover his mouth because
I do that sometimes. That's when you could tell people are shy a little bit, right? When they like
was gonna church function for the youth.
Aww.
He was getting ready at my house and Jimmy was here too, and he got all sweaty and was a nervous wreck. I go, "What's the matter?" He goes, "Well, I don't know these people." I said, "That's how you go and get out and be around people." Jimmy's daughter ended up going with him because he was just nervous wreck because he was kind of shy, but once you got to know him, he was always kind.
Aww.
But he always said he was for the underdog.
That's what's up. He seemed like a funny person too. I watch his videos or like his pictures and stuff. He seemed like an awesome person. Like, aw, that's sweet.
When you got to know him, he was just kind of silly and goofy. I got pictures that aren't out there where he's got these things in his nose with one of his friends and this wax across here, and they were pulling their silly that I have to put out because they're just special moments I want for me.
Okay. What would be some of your suggestions to other families in the face of these problems right now?
I say just record everything. Record everything, look at everything, and just record.
Well, I'll say hold on to God, because you got to ride. And if you don't hold on to God, you're not going to get through it.
Yeah, that's both of them is very good. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Definitely record, because both of you strong, beautiful mothers has done that. You have recorded everything.
Well, after you start feeling like
that's good.
You're stunned. You're like, nobody would believe this.
Right.
For themselves, because if somebody was telling me that, I wouldn't believe it unless I heard it with my own ears. So that's when you go, wait a minute, I got to start recording this stuff, because somebody is not going to believe this.
Girl, when I called for Denise, I said, I got to buy a recorder, because what this lady was saying was woo. So now I'm going to buy me a recorder. Unbelievable.
You're stunned. You're like, huh?
Yes.
Just say that. I mean, I was told, don't I just want to believe nothing bad happened to my son? Like, what? That's what you're going to say to me? Don't I just want to believe?
When he had no organs, and that's the shit right there. No organs. And on.
Well, I mean.
Oh, that just.
Skeleton. Yeah. There was nothing of him.
Wow. What part of victim advocacy needs to be improved?
Pardon me, say that again.
What part of the victim advocacy needs to be improved?
I just think that people that say they're an advocate, they need to care. And they need to do what they say they're going to do, and not ghost us parents. And they just need to do what they say they're going to do, basically. That's what I think they need to improve on.
Well, yeah, when you say you're going to do something, follow through with it. Right. And just be honest, just be truthful to us. That's what we want. Just a moment of your time, explain this to us, and maybe we will understand it. But right now we're sitting here looking at it going, huh?
Yeah.
And nobody gives you the time of day.
Yeah.
Because that means a lot. You're going to be surprised the weight that's lifted off you when somebody just sits down with you and gives you the time to listen and let you explain how you feel and look at what you have. That's all that's all I ever wanted, and praying that it would be answered. But the beginning is just having someone sit with you.
Yeah.
See you like you're a human being, and that you just want
listen to you.
Yeah, like what she says, they need to change the laws. Yeah, they need to change these laws.
Yeah, that's a sister.
Us as parents, we've known our kids 20, 30 years, however old our children are. We've known them all this time. Police might have only had interactions with them, if they had any interactions with them, a couple hours. So what gives them the right to say, this is what happened to your child? When we're saying, no, our children didn't do this. No, our children wouldn't kill themselves. This is crazy. They need to listen to us. If we have feelings that someone has done something,
that's right,
to our child, they need to listen and listen to what we say. Really listen to what we say. So yeah, they need to change the laws. They need to investigate everything.
Well, like you said, I think we should have, as parents, we've lost our loved ones. We should have some kind of rights. Why do the criminals get all the rights? We don't even get all.
That's right.
And I mean, in Timmy's situation, he called for help. You did not help him.
Right. They failed to protect and serve. The same with my daughter. They failed to protect and serve her.
You're going to listen to what them people say instead of sitting down and asking us parents who our kids are. How do you know? Just because they said it because they want you to believe that?
Timmy called running Help me. They're chasing me. I need help. My friend's threatening me.
He said, my friend is threatening.
Crazy.
Aaliyah made
said he was being chased, but the document shows that he only said my friend is threatening me. Doesn't say nothing about being chased or that he was running or anything like that. There's a difference between somebody being paranoid and running, thinking chasing him, or somebody saying my friend is threatening me. But Caleb was saying that Timmy was doing that, so they just hopped on the bandwagon and said, oh, that's what he said. They didn't to say, wait a minute here. It says my friend's threatening, not that I'm being chased. There's a difference.
Sad.
Just like Aaliyah's case, she mentioned I've been abused for 2 years. Everybody knew about the abuse, that they knew this girl was abusing my daughter.
The people next door said I used to hear the banging, you know, her beating on her.
I'm so sorry.
No, but nobody was questioning. It's like Aaliyah, my daughter, called the police, but they would never believe her. They always said it was like both of them together. I mean, if she told the police, like in 2018, and this really gets me, that in 2018, when my daughter was alive, the ex-girlfriend called the police on my daughter and told the police that my daughter threw a standing mirror at her and it cut her in her left elbow. My daughter told the police she was just trying to protect herself. Well, the police arrested my daughter, charged her. She was going to court till the day she died. But I have this ex-girlfriend on the interview, and on an interview she did where she mentioned that my daughter threw the mirror at her. The interviewer said, did it cut you? Did you get hurt? She said, no, but it could have. So everything you ever told the police, it needs to be thrown out. You need to have listened to my daughter. So it just,
I mean, she brought a gun to a shelter to go get Aaliyah out. And no one.
And I got 2 witnesses that were in the shelter with my daughter, that she came up there with a gun and made my daughter leave. And she claims that the ex-girlfriend claims that she don't know where this shelter is, but she went to the shelter looking for her. Okay.
How'd she find out where the shelter is? Because I've been in it.
Me too.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Because she'd always have to have, my daughter always had to have her location on so this girl could find her. And if my daughter didn't have the location on, she was getting beat.
And this one goes to the next one. Check this question out, y'all. Think about this one. Well, you probably don't have to think about it because it's easily to be said. What was the most frustrating part of the criminal justice system or the court experience that you deal with?
I'll let you go first.
Oh, that they don't ask any questions. That was what was frustrating to me. I feel like as a mother, I deserve a question to know what happened to my child. So I deserve, if I'm asking you to ask questions, I just want a question answered. I deserve that you deserve to have my questions answered. I deserve, that was my child. I deserve to know what happened to my child if I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So that's the most frustrating part to me, that they didn't ask any questions.
Well, what happened to me was I got more suspicious because I kept calling the police station, and every time I would call, they'd say, I mean, I did this for a whole day. They said, oh, we'll have a deputy call me back. Then nothing. I'd wait an hour or two and I'd call back. They say, oh, we'll have a deputy. Finally, I said, don't have no deputy call me. Don't even worry about it. I'll get your attention. I mean, that's probably the only time I went off. I said, y'all get your attention when I show up at your police station.
I remember you said that. Yep.
And then I think they're going to come out and help me find my son. And instead they start going, you can't even prove he's missing here. Like, what? What do you mean I can't prove he's missing here? I sure can. So then went from that to I couldn't prove that he made the 911 call. I would think that you would talk to us. Just talk to us.
Right. You showed up. She showed up in front of that building, Barbara.
That's what I knew too. Nobody calling me back. And I mean, they didn't even come out and talk to me until June.
I sat there from March till June before the sheriff even said hello to me, and that's because I went down there ringing.
They would hate if I lived in Texas. I live in Michigan, but I'd be at the homicide. I'd be at the police station every single day.
Oh, I got signs and I sat at their courthouse.
Because I called every day for a while till they got to the point to where, because they screen your calls, they got the caller ID. So they even knew when it was me calling, they knew it was me when I'd call unavailable, because eventually I started calling unavailable and they knew it was me. And they, for 2 months, they put that, but they let the phone ring once or twice, and then they just press the buttons where it says something about Unity system, some answer machine came on that you can't leave a message at for 2 months. So I call second shift homicide where they didn't know anything and know about me or anything. And then they said, the homicide guy was like, oh, somebody always answers the phone. No, they don't. They did this to me for 2 months. Or they'll hang up on me, or they transfer me to a voicemail that's the wrong person.
And leave it alone. That's what they want. They just want you to go away and leave it alone. And some people can do that. And some people just, I don't know how. But it does, I found out doesn't do any good to keep calling the same sheriff's department and stuff, because we already know they ain't gonna do nothing. So we're wasting, getting upset. And so.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was a lot of my problem. I could start feeling my heart racing, and I'd really get upset when I got off the phone with them. So yeah, I stopped calling them. Stop calling them. Actually, one time I called them and they told me I was harassing them. But I keep calling. And it's like, what?
Wow.
By me calling, I'm calling to get answers. So me asking a question is harassing you. I've had the police in my police report, my daughter's hanging police report, say I threatened him. Lying.
Yeah.
I wasn't questioned.
I'm sorry for laughing, but it doesn't surprise me. I'm just saying, it's not funny.
You've been through that too, yeah.
Right. You're stunned.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They never even would let me go in the police station when I showed up down there. I was freezing cold. You think they'd invite you in to warm up? Oh no, they walked me out into the parking lot where it was colder to sit there trying to tell me I couldn't prove my son was missing there.
That's disgusting. I want y'all to tell everybody on YouTube, both my Facebooks, what do you want everyone to know? What can we all, okay, let me put it like this. When you're putting your baby's picture out there, right? And people are not sharing it. And people are just scrolling on down and not sharing it. How does that make you feel?
Like my son's life didn't matter to anybody but me.
When you have a Facebook group and the same people in Aaliyah's group, Facebook group, or the same people in Timmy's Facebook group, justice for Timmy, justice for Aaliyah. We love Timmy. We love Aaliyah. But them same people did not support you today right here, but your sister and your boyfriend.
Well, the thing is too, is that, I appreciate what they do, but they send you a hug or something, but they don't realize how important it is to just share it.
Share it.
It's just a little click of a button.
And just
it's free. It's free. It's just a click.
Yeah, I appreciate your liking it, your sending me hugs and stuff, but it's not helping if you're not sharing.
Sharing it. That's where I'm getting at. That's the part right there. That's what I'm getting
at. Or if they sit there and they tell you they are, and you can obviously see that it's not being shared.
Right.
Or like, for instance, I have a GoFundMe. If you get people saying, oh, I'm going to donate, you can see if they do or don't.
Right.
So don't lie to me. Just don't say anything. But yeah, I would really appreciate just a little click share, because like you said, Barbara, it's like my daughter's life didn't matter to nobody but me. Like, it's like we're both just garbage.
And he
Like,
was a being, and he was our babies. We gave birth to them. They're our babies. You guys, I don't know how many mothers that are listening or will be listening to this, but you have babies.
That's right.
That you've given birth to. They matter to you.
they don't realize that. They don't realize until it happens to their child, which it very well could happen, because I never thought that my daughter was about to come home. She posted on her Facebook page, F Texas, F my apartment, I'm going back to Michigan. Like 3 or 4 days later, she was dead. She was dead because they read that. They read that she was dead. And then that interview that the ex-girlfriend did, her best friend commented at the bottom. The ex's best friend commented at the bottom. They said something about first you look up, then you look down, something about Sally, and then solid law enforcement, because they got law enforcement in their pocket. But people,
that was I saw that. That was woo.
Hey,
yeah,
people starting it does come to light. I believe that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not our timing.
What do you want to say to people? How can people help you? How can people help?
Share and sign the petition.
There you go. There's ways, if you cannot donate, everyone, right? There are ways you can support these families. You can share. You can show up when they're talking on a podcast. Let me tell you something. It's not for me. It's not my story. It's their story. They need your support.
Please.
And like I
I'm
told
monetized, so this does not for me. I don't get paid for this. I'm not monetized. Don't want to be monetized. So from the views and all that, it's not for me. It's for the victim's family. It's for these beautiful ladies. They matter. Their stories matter.
Our kids mattered.
Exactly.
And like I said, yeah.
Go to their Facebook, share. If you see Barbara, if you see Aaliyah's face up there, share it like your life depends on it. Share it like it was your baby.
Yeah, because that was really hurtful. Aaliyah's birthday just passed, and I couldn't even get people to share a picture of my daughter.
No, I did.
I couldn't even get a picture, and it was her birthday, and it's like,
oh, and
I just let it go. But it hurt.
Yeah,
I did a whole birthday thing
and
for
just
her.
like I told you, right? And just like I told you, Jasmine, sometimes, yeah, there's other things that got to be done that other people got to do while they're watching a podcast. They can't watch the whole thing. That's fine. Set your phone down and let it get out, and not even be on it. Go do what you got to do, but let the podcast just run on your phone.
Yeah, it still makes
and that way it goes to the other people can see it.
Right.
You know, just set your phone down. You ain't got to watch the whole thing.
One of my subscribers, Kathy B, is traveling today. She's the one that always shows up, right? Yep. She was traveling today, and she was like, I don't know if I could make it. She came in here early, and she was like, I'm here. I just wanted to show y'all love, and I'll come back and watch the replay. And she's traveling, but she still wanted to show y'all love. That's amazing.
Yeah, she's a sweet lady. She donated and everything. I didn't ask her, but she probably did sign the petition. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she did. Yeah,
I know she about did, because I just didn't see it because there's like over 11,000 signatures. So
your petition is down there. Barbara's petition and her Facebook is down there for Timmy. Your GoFundMe. Every family member or 6 families that was supposed to be here today, they Facebook and petitions for their children or whatever they have is down below. Everything for them.
Let me ask you, do you have your podcast?
Oh, you didn't see the video.
Petition pinned on the top of your Facebook page? Do you have a justice? I'm assuming you have a justice for your daughter's page. Yeah. Do you have it pinned on there at the top?
Yes.
Good, because somebody just told me about that not too long ago and said that they go to these families' pages and they have so much on there that it takes a lot of time for them to go through it. So we need to pick one that tells the most information.
And pin it.
Top of the page.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
pinned. GoFundMe is pinned it.
I did a TikTok video where I was talking about my daughter's case. And I got that pin. I got my daughter's hands holding the cell phone pin. That's got over 44,000 views. That every single buddy be like, they see it. It's a phone. Every single buddy that has viewed it. So.
Oh, it wasn't pinned. I just pinned it. I pinned the GoFundMe.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's pinned now.
But you can only pin one thing. So that now,
right.
Petition's pending. I have to go over and still every other day at least, or my sister's really
pinned it on mine too.
Post the story too. So it does, if a big podcast or wants to do your story, it's not making them have so much work going through your page.
Also, I want to say, remember when she was talking about the Homicide Victim Family Rights Act?
Yes.
I found it and I sent it to y'all.
Oh, great.
Okay, thank you.
And I also put it down below here. And I also put it in the groups. Okay. When we was all talking, so I did find it on Google. So if you look at your messenger, it's there also. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's frustrating to me because a lot of this stuff, they'd be like homicide. My daughter's case, they didn't even look at it like a homicide. They just ruled it suicide. So it's frustrating because I feel like a lot of the stuff that's talking about homicide and stuff is not going to relate to mine because they're like, oh, they ruled it suicide. It's suicide. Even though, and what do you think about this, Barbara and everybody else? I got a letter that stated the report number for Aaliyah Wilson is not releasable. It is a confidential homicide report. You may contact Open Records to see if they're able to print the report. Homicide and suicide mean totally two different things.
Absolutely.
How come when she looks her daughter's name up, her daughter doesn't come up deceased, but everybody else that passed away, it comes up?
I don't know. That's just strange.
That is very strange.
I checked, so like, it was probably two to four of those, like the public records that you can do online and run people's names. I ran everybody's name that was deceased. Like my daughter's father died a month after she did. Next to his name, it came back deceased. This officer Morrison that I always had to speak to in homicide, he's deceased. He died in December, and it came back his name deceased. Every name was deceased except for her name. So then I was told, well, they might not be that accurate sometimes. So go to Vital Statistics. They're more accurate. Same thing. Same thing.
Strange.
It's like,
well, do you take breaks at all?
me, no. This has been 4 years, 24/7.
You just calm down, have a little faith. Things are going your way, and breathe. Because it'll drive you crazy too. And I think you got things that are working behind the scenes for you that you don't even know about. And that's what I thank God for every day. When I say a prayer, I say, I thank you for what you're doing behind the scenes that I don't even know about too. And I think you're going to get farther than, I mean, you have to take the mental break.
I believe she's gonna get very far.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
It's already in process. Like God is already working.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful who you hooked Jasmine up with, that one guy. I'm hopeful because Jasmine just emailed him the picture of my daughter hanging. And when you look at that picture, and if he's like smart, all you do is got to look at the picture. Why is my daughter's face ghostly white, but it looks like there's blood flowing through her arms? Her arms are brown, but her head's white. You can just tell she was dead for a while.
Go to the podcast. All his credentials are in the beginning of his podcast, and you'll know who it is.
Right.
Yeah, we have his channel and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. The beginning of his channel.
We read it. We read who he is. Oh, we do our research.
And you know, Courtney's watching. She's scared.
Hey, Courtney. This is your day soon.
This stuff for me I knew for a year before I could even say anything. So, I mean, you just need to prepare yourself that it's going to take time and you need to take those breaks.
Right.
I have myself sometimes because it's hard to do too.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. It's I'm not even in your situation, having lost a child, but it's a lot. And I commend y'all so much of the strength and the power and the things that y'all are doing. Like, wow.
No, believe me,
Wow.
my power's God given.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, wow. Like, I didn't see how, like, I hear the stories when I'm sitting here on my YouTube channel, like I was doing before, y'all, when I'm telling the stories every day. But when I was actually on foot outside with my thing, talking about Aaliyah's story out there to strangers,
you see exactly what it's like.
It's different.
You meet the real.
I love it. I love going out there. My back and my legs ain't too good, but it's different.
You meet
different.
Meet people, or you meet somebody that just wants to turn their head and ignore that.
There you go. There you go. You do meet good people, and you meet some people that just want to turn their head and keep it going. And then that's when my dirty mouth comes. Like, what about visit your fucking door?
That's what
I got in one lady's face and almost had a fist fight with her because of it.
I told Jasmine, you just need to let it go because there's lots of people like that. Like I was telling her when I was going from door to door, I went over to he was a millionaire. I'm talking about his house. I was in like this neighborhood where these houses were real nice. These people had money. But I knocked on this millionaire's door. You could tell by his house. And this white man, he made me cry because I'm sitting there, I'm asking for $1 change. I know you got $1 change in your house, but he was like, just questioning me about my daughter. And then he was like, well, got real snotty. And he was like, well, what can Michigan do? And it's like,
some people are just evil.
Care. You can help me get a PI. So it was just like, but I just was like, thank you. I didn't get rude with him. I just said thank you and left. And then I cried.
You want to say, I hope something doesn't happen to your loved one, but you got to suck it up.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Everybody's like that. I still believe there's more good people than there is bad people, and move on to the next. Because if you don't, you'll tear yourself down.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Faith.
That's what I said. And then I could have got arrested that day.
I know. I watched you.
Oh, and I was in front of when I jumped in the lady's face.
No, but I watched you.
Oh yeah, you watched me the other time, but no, the lady she said something smart, and I was like, "What about if this was your daughter?" And she was like, she said something like, "Oh, well, I take it back," because I was in front of Audi's when this happened. She said something that really pissed me off, and I said, "What about if it was your daughter?" And that day she had lost her sister. She said, "My sister just died." We was in each other's face like this. Yeah, I could have got arrested.
Is that a lot? Hurt people.
But if your sister just died, why would you be so evil and say something nasty?
Because hurt people hurt people. Hurt people. We could choose to be hurt and get angry and bitter, or we can choose to try to be our best at helping. Because, I mean, it helps to help others, too. I mean, it just does.
Oh, that's what she said. No, she said, well, I'm sorry it happened. I said, yeah, I bet you are. And she said, well, I'll take it back. And that's where I got pissed off at. And I said, this could be your child. You know what I mean? And that's what we got in each other's face. Girl, I can't. These people are like, ooh.
Because I know what you're feeling, but you can't do that because it doesn't.
I know that's what Denise said. She said, you cannot be jumping in people's face. You got to let it go. Oh, but
there's more good people than bad people, though.
It is. I've met a few people out there that actually signed her petition, donated. I mean, we started from $0 and now we got how much?
Almost 1,000.
You know? So God is good. You know, God is good all the time.
A lot on your petition, all right. That's a blessing. I just got my petition. When I see those numbers, I'm gonna be high-fiving you, girl. I mean,
Yeah, but after I get everybody to sign it, I'm not sure what to do with it. Because, like city council, I tried to tell them I got a petition with, well, I actually got two. One's got over 6,000 signatures on it. The other one's got over 11,000 signatures on it. So combine them together, that's like 17,000 signatures. But it was like they didn't care at city council.
No, I know they don't. This is what I told you have to do. After you get all your signatures, and I don't even know how many I have to get. I'm so at the beginning of my petition. But I heard that once you get your petition together and you get all the signatures, then you have to take it to your state representative or the Secretary of State. And then they approve it.
Let me write this down.
Yeah. For Missouri.
The state, the what? Say that again.
Secretary of State.
So would I have to take that to, because I'm in Michigan and it happened in Houston. So would I have to take it to Houston Secretary of State?
I don't know. I would think. I don't know, to be honest. We need to look that up. I figured that out. Yeah, because I don't know.
Right. That's why I feel like the police are treating me like garbage, because they're like, oh, this woman lives in Michigan and we ain't got to give her no answers. We ain't even got to talk to her. She's in Michigan.
So we don't have to deal with her at all. She'll just go away eventually.
Yep. Oh, well, that's not happening.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna look into that. Thank you for that, Barbara.
I'm as I go. Shoot, I didn't even know what a podcast was when Timmy was missing. But that's
many more to come. We have to do many more. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that.
Have you talked to Arctic?
Bingo, and the other ones too.
Arctic Foxes, who helped me from the very beginning.
Yes.
Phone and I'm like, who is this? He goes, well, I saw a poster you put out of your son missing. I thought, where'd you come from? And then he said, like, what's the podcast?
That's how I found you. Arctic Fox. He's amazing. Yes, he is. I love me some Arctic Fox. All right, well, ladies, it's 8:41. I want to say thank you so much for joining.
Hang in there, because it's just gonna be time. You've got somebody behind you.
Then you do the same. Hang in there, and thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm sorry I was late.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. It is okay. Thank you so much, Barbara, for joining. I appreciate everything. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for letting us know about the help that she can get. We are on our way.
Yeah, we're just as we go. But if we stick together.
That's what I say all the time. Exactly. There you go. Exactly.
I will sign your petition, and I just say keep sharing. Get out there, like she says, get out there on social media, because TikTok, I got over 24,000 followers. So, and a lot of them have signed the petition.
TikTok. I have not. I tried. I got a few followers, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
No, I can help you.
You know what?
TikTok is a good. Go ahead, Denise. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what you can do on TikTok. The reason why I got a lot of followers is because you know how when you're scrolling, you can see people's live video.
Yeah.
Okay, punch in their live so it actually pops up like you're in there, and then comment.
It can YouTube, and you know the people.
I don't care what they're talking about. Comment. My son, tell a little story, because you can only comment so much.
Right.
So I get in people's comments, and I'd be like, my daughter was found hung in Houston, and the police asked no questions. And then I'll send that, and then right after that, I'll hurry up and type she was holding a cell phone and send that. And I've had so many people just like follow me or sign the petition. So I would do that. That's how you get people to follow you. There is going to be some people that will be rude to you, like, don't come in here with that, or they'll just block you. But move on and just keep on doing it.
Or just follow a whole bunch of people until you get enough to go live.
You can only follow so many people, though.
No, that's what in the beginning, that's how I did. I followed a whole bunch of people until I started going live.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that you can only follow, I want to say a certain amount, maybe 10,000 people, but you can only follow a certain amount, and after that, you're cut off.
Oh, no, I just was following a whole bunch, and then next to you, I don't know.
Facebook, so when Timmy come up missing, I had made a new Facebook and friend requested all of his friends, right? Well, you know, you can request so many friends a day on Facebook too, so that took me 3 days.
Yeah, Facebook does that thing too, like she just said. Yep, they cut you off. I did that. I tried to do it on Facebook, and then it was like, oh, you can't follow no more. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I did the same thing. The ex-girlfriend, I started following all her friends. Now I got all these people like looking at my 24-hour videos that are from her friends from Houston, Texas, because it says that we got mutual friends. But she found out I was following her friends because I was going to follow them all. And she stopped me because I guess somebody told her. And so she took away her friend list. She was like, and she asked me, why are you following all my friends? I hurried up and came with, because everybody I follow is like freaks. And at least I know your friends are normal. So
I'm public. I want you to look at everything I have. I want you to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, she watches me. She watches me. She let that be known by the things she says and stuff and comments she makes. Like that, I think she finally blocked me, but that girl tormented me for like 3 years. She would post underneath my post. She would, like, if I said justice for Leah, she'd do a laughing emoji. Then under one of the posts, she said that my daughter was deader than a doornail. The world is better off with my daughter dead. The last thing she told me was that I got my daughter cremated till her meat fell off the bones.
People are so ignorant and petty.
Pretty sick stuff happened to me, but they're not worth my time.
Yeah, it's just so petty. Ladies, I'm going to end the live now, and I want to say thank you for joining. This is not the end. We will be coming back with different YouTube, well, I was going to say with other family members, but it wasn't a lot of people. It was supposed to be 6 family members. But you know what? It's all good. It's okay. 3 joined, 3 amazing and sad stories, though. And I got a lot out of it. Even though I know you got stories, I still got a lot out of it. So I want to say thank you so much. Yeah, I want to say anything else before we go?
Thanks, everybody, for being here, and thanks for the support.
Okay. All right, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Jasmine. And always justice for Leah, justice for your son.
Yes.
Justice
all the time, justice. And please share our stuff, sign our petitions. Would greatly appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye, Jasmine. Talk to you later.
Bye. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day. And don't forget to share on all platforms. Follow me, Brooklyn Squad. And keep the family in prayer. Prayer is very, very important. Okay? Thank you. Bye.